Sandra all the time is here with the cold hard truth. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama, call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra. And
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. We're going to mute Blake and Aaron. They're having a little bit too much fun in the studio this morning, rocking out to some music. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Let me get the Instagram feed going. Give me one quick second here. All right.
Big news. I have some important news for you. Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Singing you a little ditty this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Just for you, Sandy.
Good morning. How are you?
She's not there.
She did not enjoy
How
it.
rude.
Oh,
She
I'm
did not
here.
enjoy it.
She went off too. Actually, she probably muted us. Doesn't even know that we're on.
She thinks
live
they're still
right now.
singing.
Yes.
I think you guys
Right,
need
then.
to be.
What do you got coming up in the rundown, Aaron?
We're going to get to birthdays, Blake, on this
Ooh.
International Axe Throwing Day.
Is it?
It apparently is.
Wow.
Yeah, and National Weed Your Garden Day.
I need to move my garden for sure.
I think they're
She's
muted.
there, but I don't think so, Sandy.
Hello, anybody?
We do not hear you.
Oh,
Hey, news.
Yeah.
weird.
Ringing.
Hello,
Probably.
anybody there?
Yes.
No, I did not mute you, Sandy.
Oh, weird.
Did you mute me? No,
Uh
not mute you. All right, we're gonna move on then.
oh.
Thanks for the headlines, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
What is going on?
Friday headline.
I don't know why they
No
can't
idea
hear me.
what's going on there.
Aw,
Uh,
don't leave me.
got
I
your
can hear
Brenda
you.
next.
We do. Yeah, a lot of birthdays to get to.
I
So.
got Harry Styles right now. It's Kiss FM.
I don't know. What? All right. Don't know what happened there. Tech stuff, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I can see my mic levels are moving, and I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me. So I don't know. That was weird. Good morning, everybody. So check. I can hear you. Hello? Hi. Can you hear me? Hey. Can you hear me?
Hello.
No?
Hello.
Hello.
Is it me? You're looking-
Hello. I'm right here. You don't have to look any further. Double check because I'm here. Okay. All systems up.
Oh,
Hi. Is it possible that you
Yeah,
made
yes, Sandy. Yeah.
Hello, Blake. Blake and Aaron, I'm right here for you. I don't know. They cannot hear me. Now I know everybody else can hear me. Pleasant good morning to Evelyn. Yes. What did you do? Can I hear you now?
wow.
I can hear you.
Yeah. We're back.
Karachi music.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
It's Taco Tuesday.
Yeah. Can you hear us?
That's
Yes, I've been hearing you the whole time.
That was our bad.
Okay.
We had technical difficulties on our end.
Yes, there's a lot of moving parts in between this connection. Trust me.
Somebody fucked with our computer is what
No.
happened.
I always tell people that it looks simple.
Sorry, are we on Bobo?
Yes.
Dang it.
I always tell people it looks simple, but there's
Sorry
lots
about that. Apologies.
of moving parts. All right, let's keep it moving.
Right.
Didn't realize we were live.
I did not realize I was live.
Yes. You're always live in the mornings now.
Ah,
All right.
gotcha.
Good morning, Blake and Aaron. Finally, they can hear me. All right, some good stuff.
Sorry, Alpha.
Let's move on. The verdict. Jurors are out.
Yeah, we're not live on Kiss though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can
That's
be
fine.
in 10 seconds. Here we go. Stand by.
Okay. I thought we were live. Yeah, what a mess. Mhm. Morning, Diamond Princess. Yes, more rain today. My goodness. Wow.
All right. Kiss FM, Blake and Aaron show. We are back. We've got Sandy. We've got news.
Technical difficulties, but sorted.
Give us the headline.
Good morning. Thank you guys so much. So, a couple of headlines this morning. The jurors are out in the trial of a man who the police say committed murder after he ran over another man. Been out for a couple of days now. So, very high possibility that they will be coming back today with a verdict. So all eyes are definitely on that situation, and we shall certainly keep you guys updated on what's going on there.
All right.
Meals for Wheels looking to raise $50,000 on June the 22nd. Please mark your calendars for this event. It is a Meals on Wheels, Wheels for Meals, tongue twister. You can build a team of up to 5 people, and you're going to be doing a lot of stuff, spinning and yoga den and all sorts of things. And they're hoping to raise some money for their amazing program that they have where they feed seniors across the islands.
Okay.
Men's football team has forfeited. The men's national football team has actually forfeited its game against Cuba, which would have taken place on Tuesday, due to the United States ESTA travel restrictions. So you guys remember this?
Yeah.
If you have an ESTA and you travel, your ESTA will now get canceled because Cuba's on the list of, what's it called? The terrorist
I thought
state.
that was over. I thought they removed that.
No.
What they
From, like
removed
Trump
was
administration.
something
Let's go back
else.
in.
Yeah, they removed them from something else, but not that specific list. So unfortunately, the national team couldn't take the chance, and CONCACAF said no, that at the end of the day, Cuba was entitled to have a home match. So we forfeited that, and it does impact our rankings. What a hot mess.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is sad.
Police looking for a teenager, 16-year-old Joshua Whitaker, reported missing on May the 26th.
Wow.
Not sure why we're now just finding out about this one, but anyway, they say he was last seen at his residence in West Bay on May the 26th at approximately 9:30 p.m., where he left home without permission and has not been seen since. Somebody's
How
going
old
to
is
be 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Cuba, can I go back to your story just about Cuba?
Yeah.
Did you see in the news that Russia sailed a nuclear missile submarine right into port there?
Underneath all the
and
boats?
it's sitting there,
We talked about that a little bit yesterday.
and all the and they have a couple of warships too.
We talked about them heading over there a couple days ago, but
it's sitting up.
now it's
it's out of the water. Yeah, it's sitting in port. A
Great.
nuclear submarine.
Wonderful.
Wow,
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
They did say that they obviously do these exercise on occasion.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things where we'll be keeping an eye, no doubt.
Putin's poking the bear.
G7 nations meeting in Italy this morning as well. Expected to pass on some money, a deal to Ukraine worth some $50 billion to help them in their 3rd year in the war against Russia. Those are your news headlines this morning. Big shout out to all of
Thank you. Enjoy your show on Bobo 89.1 FM. We'll see you tomorrow for Friday headlines.
All right. Sounds good.
All
right. So good morning to everyone. Please do not forget that we are live and direct reporting from the beautiful, not the district, not the district of the Cayman Islands, Bordentown. Still gotta love it. I got an inside joke for you guys here. Do you know do you get the joke when I say not the mama? Anybody gets it? So there is a oh my gosh, let me see if I can pull this up for you. This is a bit of a throwback moment. By the way, don't forget we're on our backup YouTube channel. So go ahead and grab that link. I'm going to send it out here in a second. So there is, I'm going to grab this. Anybody familiar with this, or am I aging myself this morning? Terribly so, probably. So, it's so interesting, the things that you might find interesting sometimes and that make you chuckle, and the things that you get into, right? And you know what? Sometimes you get into things because other people kind of introduce you to it, and you're like, oh, well, that's interesting. So there's this TV series that I'd never even heard of before. When I met Marlon, not long after I met Marlon, he watches a little, his viewing is different than mine. Let me put it that way. So he will watch things that I probably wouldn't ordinarily be interested in. And so I guess this is one of the good things about maybe being in a relationship, is that you compromise. You know how it is. So sometimes he'll sit down and watch something and be like, oh, like, why are we watching this? And then I kind of get into it. So now I know not to even, I'm just like, okay, you can have the remote control. We have more than enough TVs. So if I'm really not into what he's watching, I can turn on the iPad or go watch something else. But sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, okay, let me just see what this is all about. So he introduced me to this, this series. I don't know how many years it was on for. I'll have to look it up. But it is so hilarious. Okay. Oh, the links are coming. Hold on. Somebody just reminded me. They're like, oh, Sandy, can you please send us the links to YouTube, to WhatsApp? All right. Hold on. Coming. I'm coming with the links, honey child. 1 second. Yeah. So, over the years, I've watched some very interesting things with him. I'm like, he has a very divergent set of watching habits. So he does watch, obviously, a lot of tech stuff, tech news, but then he likes like some sci-fi stuff that honestly, I'm not really like, that's not my genre. Like, I don't, I wouldn't ordinarily pick up a sci-fi book and like read it or watch a sci-fi movie or whatever. But sometimes the shows get a little bit interesting. And then he likes sort of adult cartoons, if you will. And over the years, he's introduced me to a few. There was one with a bear that worked in a national forest. I can't remember the name of it now. That is like so funny. Not, like I said, it's cartoons, but it's definitely not for kids, right? There's like a little bit of profanity in it, adult themes, the bear is like an adult and he's interested in adult things, but it's like really, really hilarious. So there's this particular one. When I just said that statement about not the mama, I had to chuckle to myself because this was a little bit of an inside joke with us for the longest time, because he introduced me to this one show with these dinosaurs. And it's like a bit, I don't even know when it originally aired, but the graphics are a bit like rudimentary and you're like, yeah, whatever. But the writing and the, acting, if you will, is like so funny and so hilarious that you really kind of get into it. So the little baby dinosaur, there's a baby dinosaur in the family. And I'm going to show you guys this little clip here. He always used to say, like, a lot of times he was left with the dad and he would always say, not the mama. So, but it's really how he says it. So it's so hilarious. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the video here. I'm going to show this to you guys. All right. 1 second. It's just hilarious. You got to see it to kind of probably appreciate the humor in it. And even then you might be like, yeah, maybe you've got to actually see the show, but here he is.
Not the mama, 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 not the mama.
You do that one more time and I'm going to throw you across the room.
Not the mama.
my gosh. So that is the not the mama.
Not the mama. Not the mama. Not the mama. Not the mama.
Dad's like
Not the mama. Not the mama. Not the mama.
ironing.
You do that one more time, and I'm going to throw you across the room.
And he's beating Dad over the head with a pot. And so he always would do that to Dad. I think the mother must have worked and Dad was a stay-at-home dad. But anyway, he was always like, not the mama. Like, you know, the one thing that dinosaur knew, that you are not the mama. So, anyway, what can I say? Oh, yes, somebody else said they're waiting in the links. My apologies. I'm distracted with the not the mama joke this morning. All right, so there you have it. He's not the mama. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm trying to think recently what Marlon has been watching. He watches a lot of what's that one guy called? He has a YouTube channel and they'll do all kind of science things. DeGracias or whatever. I don't know what his name is, but every time I go in at night, he's either watching that or some sci-fi series that I'm like, no, I can't get into this. DeGraci, I think. Is that his name? No. Well, what is his name? He's some science guru. Talks a lot about the universe and the Big Bang Theory and all sorts of stuff. What is his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson, him, the edge of the universe. Like he does all sorts of really, really interesting. Somebody says, stop snitching on Marlon. And I mean, they talk about so many interesting things. Like it is a little bit like you got to put on your intellectual brain when you listen to this guy, because he makes you he makes you feel like you're really stupid. Like the things that they talk about, it's like, oh my God. Like a day ago, he's talking about solar max approaching, the 3-body problem. Like these things are like quantum physics. And it's like, whoa. Somebody said, and Neil is awesome. He really, like I said, you got to be in a particular frame of mind. He did one about traveling through space-time, quantum computing. I mean, these guys are like next level intellects, right? But it's so interesting to watch for sure. I'm trying to think what other movies he's kind of gotten me. Yeah, the dinosaurs, that show was hilarious. So we watched all of it, and then of course, all good series come to an end. What else is I'm trying to think what else he does not really and truly, he does not like a lot of things that I watch. So for example, I'm very much into true crime. Like I am a true crime like junkie. So I can stay on investigation discovery all weekend long. You know, like most women want to watch Lifetime, Movie Network, Hallmark Channel. I mean, I have to be in a really particular mood to want to watch that stuff. And usually I'm not. And so I love real crime. I'm like trying to solve the mystery with them. Like, who done it? I told you it was her from the beginning. She looked suspicious. Yeah, she wanted the insurance money. I watched one over the weekend. This woman killed 3 husbands and they didn't catch on to her until a 3rd husband. Like she was really, talk about a black widow. Like seriously, woman. And they finally, they were able to convict her on the first murder, or the second husband actually, which was kind of interesting. But anyway, I love true crime. And I'm always there trying to solve it. What's going on? And oh my God. And then after you like watch the true crime thing and investigation discovery, then I go Google it and see what happened. Did the person ever get out of jail? Are they still alive? Like, you know, I'm like so into the source of the situation. And so I also like horror flicks as a genre, but I must tell you that my husband is not into horror at all. You are not going to get him to sit down and watch a horror movie. Nope. I think he watched Sixth Sense with me. Because then I like horror, but I don't necessarily want to watch it by myself. So I'm like, I need somebody to watch it with me. So when I scream and I need to grab somebody, like you're right there with me, right? So yeah, but he's not into horror. He's like, no, I'm not watching that. So I've watched less horror since I met him. But boy, I love me a good horror flick. I'm like, hey, who doesn't like to get scared out of their wits, right? And I hardly get, somebody says horror is my favorite genre. I hardly get to watch TV anymore. Like now it's like news, like the boring stuff, but the stuff I have to watch to keep up with what's happening, right? Morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Morning. How are you?
It's a beautiful sunny day.
Oh my gosh, you wish.
No, I'm
What?
alive. I'm
Oh,
alive.
well, yes.
You have to
Yes.
put life in perspective, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy, what I'm calling about is that I don't know if you are the person that sent the pictures about those cows up on Meadow Avenue, but off Mount
Oh
Pleasant
yeah, we're
Road.
gonna get to that this morning. Oh my gosh, those poor
You want me to
cows.
call? You want me to call you back later?
Yeah, let me get over my TV moment.
Okay, because I have some close up pictures and
Oh.
I want to go into details. I wasn't about to call you. I was not about to call you until I called the Department of Environment and
I'm
the
gonna
guy
tell
was
you
never
something about that. Give me a couple minutes to switch
okay.
over,
All right.
and I'm gonna tell you what I know about that situation here in a second. Oh, so sad. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
I have
Dexter.
some pictures that I can send to you too.
Okay. No
Okay,
problem.
bye.
Thanks. Okay, so just a reminder, we're on the backup YouTube channel. If you can't find us, just search Cayman Mall Road Cayman and like and subscribe to that channel because then it's easier to find us when we go live there. Back up on we're there for a week, so I think next week Monday we should be back to the regular channel. Anyway, I was saying that I don't actually get to watch as much TV as I would. I don't know if I'd like to. Maybe I'd like to. I think I'd like to watch more. There's a lot of really good shows out there. Now listen to me. I'm gonna tell y'all this. What's the one that women were into a couple of years ago? It was a period piece with. There's one guy that's really, really good looking. But I think he's not continuing in the series. Like royalty. They're not royalty, but Bridgerton. Yes, so everybody was into Bridgerton. And I don't necessarily like to watch stuff when it's like hyped. So when people were into Bridgerton, I was like, I don't know what the hype is about. I'm like, I'm going to wait. Right. So I don't like to watch, like, I've never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. Like, I know you guys are into it. You're down for it. The Dragon Queen, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, But, years later, I'll go back and watch it and go, wow, I really appreciate like good rating and this and that. And the other thing that Marlon's really into is the whole superhero thing. So he's all into there's what Marvel and what's the other one called? So he's all into like he knows all the storylines and who's like connected to who. And what's the one blind superhero that was also a lawyer? Like we watched that series for a while. That was kind of interesting. But yeah, he's into those. And I really can't keep up. I don't know what side Spider-Man is on. And if he's part of Marvel or what's the other one called? I don't even know. You see, I don't even know what they're called. The other side, whatever. Captain America and all these people. So every single one of those movies, DC and Marvel, yeah. So he watches all those and he's into Star Trek like big time, like total nerdy stuff. Right? He's watching Star Trek last night or the night before. I was like the original one, like seriously. Anyway, I said to myself, all right, I'm going to watch Bridgerton because I want to see what you guys are all into. Like, what's the big deal? Honey, child, I know why women like Bridgerton. Because that was like soft porn. I mean, I watched like 3 episodes and trust me, I was hooked. But I was like, some of y'all might need to spruce up the relationship a little bit. Because if this is what you're getting your kicks from, I see what y'all up into it. Oh my God. Right. And of course, it helps that the characters are like, especially the lead male character was like so good looking. I said, I feel you, ladies. Daredevil. There we go, Dwayne. Yes. I enjoyed the Daredevil series, but then I hate when they like, oh, they're canceling it. I'm like, why? He's good. Don't cancel him. I love a good kung fu. Oh my God. I love a good kung fu movie. Like I am the queen of, Bruce Lee, kung fu, kick him down, beat him up. Hidden Dragon, what was that one called? Hidden Dragon, swirling moves. No, Hidden Dragon, Crouching Tiger. Y'all remember that? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Oh my God, that is like an epic. One of my all-time favorite kung fu movies by far. Like the moves in that, like coming off the rooftop and doing those little swirling moves. I can't remember who came first, their moves or the moves from oh gosh, well, what's the sci-fi movie where they're in alternate worlds and then they do that? There was that one they wear the black. Oh my gosh, what is that called? And then they did that one move that has been copied by so many movies and TV shows and everything since then. Keanu Reeves, he was in it. What's it called again? Gosh, y'all gotta help me out here. I'm horrible. I am horrible with remembering these things. A Matrix. There we go. Thank you. So y'all know the infamous Matrix move, right? When did the Matrix originally come out? What was the first Matrix movie? Because I'm thinking that I can't remember. I feel like Crouching Tiger stole it from Matrix. But it depends on when the Matrix came out. Does anybody know when the Matrix came out? Yeah, I like a good John Wick's movie too. But Matrix. When did the Matrix first come out? 1999. Okay, so the Matrix came out. Thank you so much, Scott. Scott's on it this morning. So the Matrix came out before Crouching Tiger. So I feel like Crouching Tiger stole that move from the Matrix, but they did that whole flying through the air from like one rooftop to the next. Let me see here now. Crouching Tiger came out in 2000. Now, to be fair to them, 1999 to 2000, they were probably very, very close. And they might have even started wrapping up filming by when the Matrix was released. But I'm sure they saw that move, right? Everybody wanted to copy that move. It was amazing. Anywho, I've never really been into the Matrix either. Like I've seen bits and pieces of it, but confusing. I'm trying to think what else has been. I'm thinking what else has he turned me on to in terms of movies and TV shows. And I was like, you know what? This is actually a really cool movie. There was one show where people it was a Netflix. I think it was on Netflix where people like came back, like you could die and then come back. But it was like a high tech sci-fi kind of thing. What was the name of that one? That was actually very weird and interesting. Like you had to really pay attention to even follow the plot line. Like sometimes they get a little bit confusing. I'll have to ask him about that show. But anyway, that one was kind of interesting. So I watched Bridgerton, and then what happens to me is I binge watch and I can't help myself, which is never a good thing because I'll be up like 3-4 o'clock in the morning when I've got a show in a couple hours and I should be. How did you know, Eldon? Altered Carbon, that's it. Yes. Now that was, did they ever come back with, I think I got up to like I definitely did season 1. How many seasons? Yeah, that was like a weird move, like a weird show, but I was like into it. Yes, Altered Carbon. I got to go see where I left off. I can't even remember. It's been like a couple of years now. But yes, so he introduced me to that as well. And I was like, oh, this is too weird for me. And then when I started watching it, I couldn't stop. Yeah, like crazy. I love period pieces as well. And I think that's what I like about Bridgerton. And, but I started watching Elizabeth. I think that was a TV show about Queen Elizabeth I. Very, very interesting. Becoming Elizabeth is the name of this one. That was a 2022 series. I think I watched season 1. I don't know if they've gone past that, but I need to keep watching that because that was such an interesting plot line as well. But you know, it's so interesting to see how women were treated back in those days. Like you didn't really, and men a lot of times too, you didn't get to make your own choices in life. Trust me. It was a very different time for sure. But yeah, I love a good period piece. You know, even when I was in high school and we had to read all the period novels and stuff for English literature, totally interesting. Do you guys read stuff here in school like Shakespeare and oh God, what are some of the poets that we had to read? Even in high school, I was in English literature. I was in English AP, and we had to do all of the like classics. Like we had to do Shakespeare. We did a couple of his plays. We did, oh my goodness. I'm trying to think of some of the other period pieces. What's her name? Help me out, English teachers. Famous female novelist that did a lot of period pieces. Is it Emily Dickinson? So we had to do her, of course. We had to do, Frankenstein was like a required reading on a required reading list. Somebody said when I was attending Macbeth, when I was attending John Gray, we did Macbeth. So we had to do Bronte, yes. And we did a couple poets like, oh my goodness, hold on now. There's one that, I'm totally not going to remember it now, but we had to literally memorize this entire poem, and it was about the author had lost his wife, I think, and this was like an ode to her. Help me out, English teachers. You're going to know exactly who I'm talking about here. Oh man, it's like on the tip of my brain now. Her name, I think the poem is named after her as well. Oh my. I will have to, and it's really about loss, love, and all this kind of stuff. What is his name again? I'm more likely to remember the name of the poem. And we had to recite that. Like we had to know the whole thing by like memory. And now I can't even remember. Henry Longfellow, another poet that we were introduced to back in the day. Of course, Edgar Allan Poe. Yes. Remind me of the name of it now. It is Edgar Allan Poe. What was his famous hold on. Was it The Raven? I'm trying to remember. It might be The Raven. Yes, I think it's The Raven. Was it The Raven? And this is long, but Leonore. Yeah, hold on, y'all are on it. Okay, I think this is it. No, it wasn't The Raven. I think it was the Leonore one, which is about let me see. When I see it, I'm gonna know. No, it might have been The Raven. Hold on, let me go back. Why is it not looking like either one of those now? But I do think it was an Edgar Allan Poe poem. Once Upon a Midnight Dreary. I think we only, this looks pretty long. I'm thinking we didn't have to learn the whole thing. We probably did just the first bit of this, but this could be it. Anyway, you got, this is part of your curriculum, and it was so incredibly interesting. The history of just poetry, and some prolific writers. We of course did what's his name? Fall of the House of Usher. No, I don't think that's it. But anyway, we did lots of this in high school, and then of course I actually became an English major in university, so it was like repeat English 2.0 university level. But then of course my specialty was technical writing, so we did more of like the writing. But listen, to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader, like seriously. And so even though my major was writing, they forced us to read. Like you have to read all of the poets, all the classics. Annabel Lee, that is it. Thank you, Eldon. It is Annabel Lee. Yes. I was thinking the other ones, I'm like, I didn't think. Yes, that's it. That is exactly it. Yes. Thank you so much. Just remembered it. Yes. This is not quite as, when I saw the length of the other one, I was like, that's not it. So yes, let me read this to y'all since we're in the mood this morning for a little bit of poetry. So we had to memorize this, and back in the day. Yep, it was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea. This brings back memories from high school English, right? That a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. Mm-hmm. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. And we loved with a love that was more than a love, I and my Annabel Lee. With a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. I mean, when you read this, and then of course, your teacher's like, well, what do you think this poem is all about? I mean, this stuff is like so deep, right? Talking about, and every young person, when you get to university and you've had like your first little boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, you understand this concept of like either unrequited love or long, like you feel like even at that young age, like you've lost somebody, like you're so in love with someone, maybe they're not reciprocating your feelings. Like everyone can relate to so much of these poems that like, really touch at the human element of who we are, right? The master of writing, Shakespeare, had so many amazing contributions to literature and theater and, so yeah. Thank you, Annie. Yes, Annabel Lee. That's the one that I was thinking of. And man, for so many years, I had that poem like embedded in my brain and I could just like, recoil it at any moment. So Aliana rolling his eyes says American literature, high school classes. Well, most of these were actually not American. Some of it American literature, but we did a lot of British literature, a lot of English literature, because they kind of set the foundation, I think, for the authors that followed them. He said he hated Edgar Allan Poe. Gabby says one of the books that I loved was The Great Gatsby. Chaucer, yes, he was Chaucer. He was one Scot that we also were introduced to. Bronte was another. Yep, absolutely. Wow. Annie says Machiavelli is my favorite. So interesting. So Shaka Zulu says it's confusing as long as you're not aware of the concept it's based on. It's based on Rene Descartes' brain. Oh God, now you got brain in a vat philosophical concept. Yeah. So listen, expand your knowledge. I'm not likely to sit down now and read a Shakespeare novel. Probably not. Shakespeare was prolific at writing. Like, oh my God, he wrote. But, I think it's good to expose children to these things, to like literature and art and history. And, in the US, I went to public schools and I'm still in awe of this public schools that I went to, how much exposure they really gave you to stuff. Like we did field trips. We went to art museums. I remember the first time I went to like probably theater, ballet, was probably like even as young as like the 4th or 5th grade. Like they took you on these excursions and made you see a live performance. And I was in awe. Oh my gosh, I love ballet. I'm like, oh my God, these people are so amazing. They're so beautiful. And the discipline that it takes to become a professional artist or professional dancer is just like out of this world. Like it's a lot, right? And to see people who are professional ballet dancers, touring different cities and so on. So one of the things I, as a parent, really want to make sure that I do, because, I didn't always have, what is so interesting? And this is why I appreciated the school, is because they introduced me to stuff that my aunt would have never taken me to. I mean, listen, she grew up in a time, like she didn't know anything about Shakespeare, Dante, Edgar Allan Poe. She didn't know anything like that. So schools fill the gap. They should be filling the gap for what you're not being exposed to at home and what you're not being taught, and really just broadens your horizon in a totally different way. So I was always appreciative of those experiences. Even as a child, I was like the first to bring home my little sign-up slip, permission slip, to be able to go to a field trip, because I was like, oh, this is great. We're going to go to a national park. We're going to go see the eagles and alligators and canoes and learn about the native Indians. You know, it's experience, right? So that really is what it's about. And so many of us do travel. A lot of you only go as far as Florida, but you know, I'm going to invite you to expand that a little bit. But when you travel, you do the same things over again. I'm guilty of it. You know, Caymanians, what do you do the first time you show up in Miami? Like the moment you get to Miami, your first place that you're going to stop is where? Walmart. I mean, y'all don't even venture out to Target. Y'all like, nope, Walmart. You might go to Target if you're a little bit bougie, but you know, the mall. Red Lobster, says Irvin. By the way, I don't know how much longer Red Lobster is going to be around. Y'all better enjoy it while you can. But yeah, we kind of do. We get into the shopping thing because we're like, oh my God, we need to go shopping. You know, we miss all these things in Cayman. But every trip that you go away, try to squeeze in a little something different, a cultural moment. Go to the science museums. I mean, there's some amazing in Florida. I think they're actually redoing the Tampa. What was it called? It was right by USF. It was the National Museum, something. I think they're actually redoing that museum now, I've been told. But, you know, Miami has a lot of cultural things that you can do. Like we've taken Gigi to see the Everglades, part of it. We've taken her to, I don't know which Native Indian, was it the Miccosukee tribe? But she's been not to the casino, to the actual reservation. Well, you know what I mean. When I say reservation, like you can go and get in the boat and go do the tours. We saw like a demonstration with like alligators and wildlife, and she loves that sort of thing. When she was 2 years old, she was in Jamaica playing with snakes at the little museum there, and they brought up the little alligator and whatever. Expose your children. Jamila says for her, the first stop is Taco Bell. Strong Wilt says it's Ross. By the way, is it my imagination or Taco Bell is also disappearing? I feel like they're soon gonna be a thing of the past because I hardly see them anymore. But yes, I mean, get out there and explore things. So in December, when we did our family trip, so we try to do 1 or 2 trips a year. That's just the family, just me, her, and dad. That's it. And so in December last year, we did a Miami trip, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to book something cultural. So we actually went and saw a ballet performance. There's actually in Aventura, there is a cultural center that puts on performances all the time. And this particular one was, it was for children, and it was meant to, it was like an auditory experience. So even if you had children that were on the spectrum, special needs children, they adjusted elements of the performance for them. So the lighting took into consideration, like they didn't use bright, like flashing lights or anything. So they made certain adjustments. They made certain audio adjustments. So people who had special needs children could bring them to this event, and they could actually enjoy it and stuff as well. And we actually got to meet the dancers. We have like pictures with they're professional dancers. Some of them were like Russian, and you know, I mean, these guys like totally amazing. And which performance did we see? The Nutcracker. Was it Nutcracker? Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember now. Might have been. But you can actually get, let me tell you now, subscribe to these things, because when you're going away, you have the opportunity to check their calendar. You can buy tickets online. So I'm going to give you the name of this one because I'm trying to remember it now. I think it's an Aventura Museum of Performing Arts or something. Oh yeah, Aventura Arts and Cultural Center. And it's not that far from Miami. Like it's just a little bit drive. It's a little bit of a different area. It's like right on the water. So they do like piano festivals. You know, here in Cayman, we do have some amazing opportunities. There's always the art festival that happens. She actually hasn't been to one of their performances yet, but that's definitely on the list. So I try to like take her to different stuff, right? So here's the Miami International Piano Festival was in May at the Aventura and Cultural Center. So they do a lot of stuff at that particular location, but there are other places in Miami as well that you can catch these types of events. So expose your children. Listen, they're going to go to Walmart. They're going to go to the Red Lobster. They're going to see the malls and whatever, right? How many malls can you see before you go, okay, I've seen one. I've probably seen them all. Take them out to other things so that they can get a little bit of taste of like the theater and musical performances. And, I think that those types of things are so incredibly important to expanding their knowledge base, so there's the Miami Theater. You guys can book stuff for that. So we booked her for, they do musicals and different types of performances, shows, even stand-up comedy, all sorts of stuff, jazz and blues performances. And then we also booked her for, by the way, Andrea Bocelli is going to be playing coming up in, I think that just said December. The Stomp performers are going to be at the Miami Performance Center. When did that just say? I think that's sometime in November. So you're going, the Nutcracker again coming up in December. You're going to Miami anyway. You can pick just one day out of your trip, one evening, a couple hours, where you do something a little bit different. So we did a performance in December, and we also took her to, they had the little ice, like snow, snow in Aventura, where they have like this big, it's like a tent really. And then they bring in the snow and they pump in snow. It wasn't like we were thinking, oh, it's going to be like really cold. Let's pack jackets and stuff. I got to admit, I could have gotten away with not even wearing a jacket, like just a little sweater would have been fine. But it was nice for her to be able to see a little bit of snow. It wasn't a whole lot. And, they got to slide down like a big, man-made sort of hill to pretend like you were out, in the toboggan or whatever. So these things are really, you've got to go out of your way, I feel like, to introduce your children to something out of the norm, but just a different type of experience. And, we don't have a whole lot of opportunities here in Cayman to see things like musical and cultural performances and, dance performances and stuff like that. So I try to, for our family trips, I try to go, okay, we're going to take one evening where we do something else, something different. Take her to somewhere different for food that we haven't yet experienced, because her palate is very, God, I'm waiting for the moment, and I think it will come when her palate is going to expand beyond apples with peanut butter and a peanut butter sandwich. I'm just like, let me know. She does like sushi, like just veggie sushi normally, right? She likes like edamame, but I'm waiting for when she has that explosion in her appetite where she's like, oh yes, I want to try all these different things. Because right now it's very, very narrow. And I keep saying, oh, try this. You might like it. And she's like, no. I'll just have an apple. This child eats so many apples. Oh my God. Anywho, yes. So I digress, but that's life for you. So we're doing, we're going to do an August trip for her birthday. So we're going to do a week away in August. So I will not be here for a week. And on that trip, I'm going to look at booking some of these things, like, going to the beach and watching in that natural environment, a performance, like on the ocean, on the water. There's just so many things that you can explore when you travel. So check it out, folks. Make sure your children are being exposed to something other than Dolphin Ball. I'm just saying. We still have lobster pot here in Cayman. Listen, our seafood is the best in the world. But yeah, y'all love a Red Lobster, but they're kind of restructuring right now because they're on the brink of bankruptcy. They're tethering on. They said that they're all you can eat shrimp or whatever is what really did them in. I don't know. I go to Red Lobster. We were there the other day when we went to Miami, and they got so many things in the menu. Sometimes it's hard to even decide what you're going to have. But I do like their stuffed mushrooms. The stuffed mushrooms were good. What did I end up having? I can't even remember. Everybody loves the bread rolls. Damien says many franchises are closing locations due to inflation and minimum wage being raised. Well, you guys heard about the minimum wage in California going up, and there's a lot of restaurants. It was for restaurant workers. They were saying that they didn't know if they could survive. This, I think it just went into effect last month or so. It's now $16 per hour, January the 1st. But a lot of fast food restaurants were required to provide the restaurant employees a minimum wage of $20 an hour in April. And healthcare facilities increased it between $18 to $23 per hour. And so, yeah, a lot of restaurants were like, we can't do it. We can't cover insurance. Like, they're tagging it all onto your bill now. Just a day ago, look at this headline. In-N-Out Burger. I've never actually had an In-N-Out Burger, but apparently they're really famous out California way. In-N-Out Burger raises their prices in response to California's minimum wage increase. So California fast food restaurants cut about 1,000 jobs due to the minimum wage increase. Not 1,000 jobs, 10,000 jobs. My apologies. So people are losing their jobs because the restaurants can't pay them $20 an hour and keep all the staff. So very, very interesting. This business owner says it's just another law that puts businesses in further jeopardy. Several major chains, including McDonald's, Burger King, and even low-cost favorite In-N-Out Burger, jacked up prices to offset the higher wages. And many had to cut employee hours, and some had expedited and moved to automation. So, this is where, unfortunately, some computers not going to take your job at the drive-through window. Manzo said nearly 10,000 jobs had been cut from fast food restaurants since the California Assembly Bill 1287 came into law last year, adding that officials were living in a fantasy land by thinking that drastic wage increases will help workers or businesses. This person says you can only raise prices so much, and you're seeing it. People are not going to pay $20 for a Big Mac. It's not going to happen. Wow. $20 for a Big Mac. What the heck? So Rubio's California Grill, known for its fish tacos, has closed 48 of its nearly 134 locations at the end of May. This is the first major chain to fall victim to the new law. A San Diego-based company cited the rising cost of doing business in the state for their closures, and the chain filed for bankruptcy on Wednesday. Another fast food restaurant, Foster's Freeze, recently closed a location near Fresno, saying the franchise owner could no longer afford to pay workers the upgraded salaries. So very, very interesting that a lot of franchises across the U.S. are actually succumbing to what they say is inflation and rising costs. Beverages at Starbucks in California were 50 cents more expensive after April the 1st. Taco Bell raised menu prices by 3%, according to a recent report by the Kalinowski Equity Research Group. Marcus Wahlberg, whose family runs 4 Fat Burger franchises in Los Angeles, told Business Insider in January that he's planning to raise menu prices between 8 to 10% in response to the new law. Chick-fil-A. Oh, I love me a Chick-fil-A, honey chill. Prices spiked 10.6% between mid-February and mid-April, according to data from the Gordon Haskett. Recent survey conducted by LendingTree found 78% of consumers now consider fast food to be a luxury purchase. Can you imagine? My God. Fast food, 78% say fast food is now a luxury purchase due to how expensive the meals have become. And part of the push for the hike was to give fast food workers more financial freedom in a state known for its high cost of living. And then, of course, the trickle-down effect has begun. So this one person says, listen, it's a starter industry. You get a job as a kid working in a fast food restaurant, and you learn some good work ethic that takes you into life. Lots of clothing retail stores are also set to close this year as well. So lots of closures still happening, all over the place, quite frankly. So let me tell you some of the retail stores closing in 2024. A lot of the dollar stores. I know some of y'all love a dollar store. I'm not really a dollar store person personally, but y'all love a dollar store. They have not been faring well at all. In fact, one chain just bought another chain recently. Family Dollar closing 620 stores. Rue 21, never even heard of them, closing 543 stores. 99 cents only stores closing 371 of their locations. CVS Health closing 315. 7-Eleven closing 272 stores. Rite Aid closing 165. Express closing 105 stores. Walgreens Boot Alliance closing 77 stores. So again, store closures are surging this year, and a lot of businesses are shuttering their doors. So retail industry going through a tough time, inflation-weary customers, and a rash of bankruptcies, prompting chains to announce their closure of almost 3,200 brick and mortar stores so far for 2024. That's a 24% increase from last year in closures. This is according to a report by the retail data provider CoreSite, which tracks store closures and openings across the U.S. What a mess. So a lot of our stores, like I said, the Family Dollar, the dollar stores really took a big hit. Discount stores citing the impact of inflation. They were never $1 anyway. You go in there, 99 cents. You could barely find anything for 99 cents. But apparently they're being hit very, very hard because I guess you can't keep anything below $5 anymore. But consumer spending still remains, they say, pretty solid. I'm always surprised at Americans. You hear about all these store closures, and then you walk into, when you go to Florida and you go into Dolphin Mall, I'm like, why can't you find a parking space in the mall? But then again, that mall is famous with non-Floridians, like non-natives. So maybe it's a lot of people traveling from overseas and stuff as well. But man, I tell you, the mall is always packed. How many people are still buying? Shaka Jewel says, yep, the Aventura Cultural Center, very beautiful venue near to the mall. Good morning, Miss Darlene. The rain is back. I know. Scott says, in December, yes, you definitely got to see the Nutcracker. The U.S. has played out time to travel elsewhere. Well, yes. I mean, I'm all for international travel. Speaking of international travel, hold on now. Let me do a big shout out. I went and got some vaccines yesterday. Let me see. Hold on. I want to get the nurse's name. I want to get her name and do a big shout out. Okay. So last week, you guys know that we were talking about shingles. And I said to y'all, ooh, I'm now 50. Need to get my shingles vaccine because this shingles business sounds horrible. Well, thank you to the HSA. Got my appointment all sorted out, and I went in to do my vaccines. They called me and they said, well, what other vaccines do you need? And I was like, I don't know. What else do I need? Well, when was the last time you had a tetanus? And I was like, I can't remember. Maybe it was June Ivan, but that's been a really long time. So I think that one's like every 10 years. And are you traveling internationally? That just made me think of it. And I said, yes, I am planning an international trip later in the year. And then, listen, somebody please remind me of the nurse's name who does the vaccines at the HSA. So informative. So she was telling me how if you go to Panama and then you plan to go to certain other countries, you need to get the yellow fever vaccine. And I was like, really? So I said, you know what? Let me do the ones I know I need to do. So I did my hepatitis A vaccine because, that's important. Make sure. And then I did the shingles. Miss Annie K. Price, thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful lady. And then she also, we also decided that I would do, so I did shingles. There's 2 shingles required, 2 vaccines, 2 shots. So I did the first one. I did Hep A, hepatitis A, and then I did the Tdap, which is the that's the tetanus, and it has the other things in it. So it's like a tetanus, diphtheria. So it's a combination actually of 3 vaccines. Yes, that protects against tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis, which is basically whooping cough. And that's important because whooping cough, not just among children, but even adults, is making a bit of a comeback. So listen, y'all know vaccines save lives and you got to keep up. So if you've not had your Tdap in, the past 10 years, and she actually checked the record for me, they keep your vaccine records. And I had it back in 2015. I can't remember why I would have had it in 2015. Because sometimes we don't get it, so something happens to us, like you get a cut or something else, and you're like, oh my God, I gotta get a tetanus shot. So I ended up getting that one as well. So I did 3 shots yesterday. Apparently you can do up to 8 different vaccine combinations at any given time. You can actually do more, but the HSA has a policy if they'll do up to 8, but I think you can do up to 12 or something, and it's perfectly fine. Now, somebody says Nurse Anna K. Price, she's a gem. Yes, she really is. Now she warns you too, because nobody likes needles. You know what I'm saying? She said, listen, Caymanians are such a little wuss for needles that she said, let me tell you something. We're not going to have probably much addicts like using needles as their choice of how they're going to ingest anything. And I said, you better believe that. Not me for sure. So she advises okay, I'm going to give you the shingles one in a separate arm and the other 2 in one arm. And the shingles one is going to hurt more. And sure enough, this morning she prepares you. She's like, okay, this one, and some people, small percentage of people, it might give you a little fever. You might actually get the shakes. She's like, don't worry about it. It's nothing to worry about. It's going to pass. Just take your Panadol. You don't even have to come to the hospital. So she really prepares you for what to expect. And I must tell you, I got 2 in one arm. So I got the Hep A and the Tdap in one arm. And then she did the shingles alone in another arm. Oh my God. The injection site for the shingles is very, very sore. That one, I felt it going in. And when you feel it going in, it's going to be different. It's been sore since. And even this morning, ooh, yay. And I think it's a little bit more medicine too. But that one is definitely sore. The other 2, not so bad. I mean, if I touch it, then obviously, yes. But, the shingles one, I was like, oh, my God. So when I go back to do part 2 of shingles, I think I'm also going to do the yellow fever one, just in case, because I feel Panama coming on, honey chow. So I might do a Panama trip soonish. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy. Do you have an open mic session this morning?
Yes, that's why I'm just talking about whatever. But I'm going to wrap that up and get into some other topics here.
Into some other topic. Okay,
Yeah.
Good. Well, first of all, it was very interesting to hear you talk about the classical English American literature and so on. It's really great. I went to university initially in Africa, and my high school was there and so on. But we also read, Shakespeare,
Yes.
Merry Wives of Windsor, Taming of the Shrew, and all that. It's always great, and it's great to see also how some works survive, like The Great Gatsby. The first movie that I saw of The Great Gatsby, you mentioned that earlier,
yes,
was one starring Robert Redford, 1974.
Okay. Oh wow! Yeah.
I bet half the people listening were not born by then. And then I think, and then 2013, I think you had another one, a modern version. I think it was Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the heartthrobs who was in it. But in terms of relevance, to Cayman, my kids went to school in Cayman for just a little bit to a private school, so I'm not a big authority on like how the schools do that. I know that they would read the things that you read and which I read, but I find there's not enough there to try and give them literature which also sensitizes them to their position in the world. You see, the university I first went to, they basically said, okay, all of you here will have to study for a course which was called African Studies. Now, they shouldn't have called it African Studies. I think they should have called it something like Oppressed People Studies, because in the course of the course of that course, I read books like James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain, Soledad Brother, the autobiography of Malcolm X, the Suffrage of Elvira, which is a Trinidadian book. So they made us read all these books, which were good in terms of their literature, but also they taught you certain social consciousness as well. I just feel that in Cayman, there is probably not enough of that. A lot of kids know about America and about the UK and so on, but not so much about self. Second and last point, Sandy.
Good point.
You remember there was an issue about mortgages. I think there's still an issue about mortgages. You know how if you don't pay for 3 months, they can possess your house without a public auction. They can, so long as they sell it on the Sireba website, they don't have to go to court. Now that is still a controversial thing in that. That's not a true mortgage. The experts have now told us that a true mortgage you can't repossess like that. A true mortgage is a little more complicated, and they call these demand loans. Now, there is something else that is developing in relation to that, which might be of some concern. And I spoke to Minister Brian yesterday on another show about that. You see, there are some strata owners who, if you owe $5,000 or $10,000 on your strata, they are claiming that they have a right to sell your apartment without going to court.
That seems a bit draconian, to be honest.
Well, it does seem draconian to me, to be honest. My preliminary view is that they don't have a right to do that. And oh, by the way, they are using the same ruling that was made in relation to mortgages to say, if you don't pay your strata fees for 3 months, just like if you don't pay your mortgage for 3 months, they can repossess. They are also trying to do that. But I'll tell you what, and let me close on this. The difference is this. In a mortgage, under Section 75 of the Registered Land Law, if you don't pay for 3 months, they can sell. And also under the mortgage agreement itself, if you don't pay for 3 months, they can sell. But there are no equivalent provisions in the strata titles law or in most strata bylaws which give that right to sell. And so I believe there's some disputes which are coming up right now. Minister Brian yesterday said he was very concerned about that because it can be used as a predatory scheme to deprive people who fall on hard time just for a short time. Because for you, for example, to lose an apartment, which is say $500,000 worth, because you haven't paid 5 or 10,000, and to do so without a court order will be a problem. Because if you can go to court, the court might make some other orders like put you on a payment plan and so on and so forth. But I just thought that I should sensitize you towards that. There are some cases which are going on. I've actually written to the Chief Justice about that. We'll see what happens.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Sandy.
Yes, appreciate giving us the heads up. I oh my gosh, you've got to be so careful with stratas. I'm not a fan of stratas, generally speaking, for more reasons than one. I was in a strata for many, many years. That was my first home, was an apartment. That's all you can afford. You got to do what you got to do. And we were in a very small strata, only 4 units. And I can tell you that even so, when you have to rely on other people and the things that they do to make decisions and whatever it impacts you, it is very difficult. I hesitate to ever find myself in a position again where I own an apartment and, you know, you have to work with other people. It's just difficult. Like, yeah, you have people who don't pay their stratas and then that impacts everybody else. You have people who, you know, the strata might have rules and you've got your strata bylaws. They don't want to follow the bylaws. It's just challenging. You know, you got to keep up with the strata books and accounts, and you either do it as a strata or you have somebody else do it. You know, the exterior of the building is shared community property. There's a lot of things when you get into an apartment situation that you've got to make sure that you understand. And the most interesting thing, like the good lawyer was saying about stratas, is you actually have a legal obligation to keep up with your strata payments. And, you know, trust me, if you don't, remember now when you sell your apartment, you actually need to get like a statement from your strata indicating that your strata fees are up to date, et cetera, et cetera. So you find people who can no longer pay for, you know, they want to sell their apartment, but they're behind in their strata. The bank isn't going to allow that to happen. You need to get paid up on the strata. So, you know, you gotta. And Jim says, Sandy, you're like a pincushion with all those vaccines. Miss Brenda asking if I got the RSV vaccine. I didn't. That one is for respiratory stuff, right? So I didn't get that one. And I think that that's mostly recommended. And this is a thing I love about the good nurse. She was saying, listen, you know, this one is only recommended for people of a particular age. This one is this group. And she clarified some stuff about shingles for me, because I got to thinking about shingles because of the recent outbreaks that we're having here in Cayman of chickenpox. So remember now, chickenpox, she said, Sandy, you can get chickenpox at any age. There has been a vaccine for many, many years. And I said, well, if people are vaccinated, how is it that they're getting chickenpox? She said, well, what they found that was happening in Cayman is a lot of people would get the first chickenpox vaccine, but not the second one. So it's a two-parter. And a lot of kids got the first one. I think they administered the first one. I'm trying to remember what she said now. Fairly young. And then you're supposed to get the second one, like maybe 3 or 4 or whatever. And they never go back for the second one. So they don't have full immunity. And that's the problem. So those kids are compromised. I think that they're trying to get back in the community, in the schools, and encourage people amidst this this outbreak now, encourage parents to get your children vaccinated for chickenpox. Chickenpox is not as bad as shingles, apparently. So here's the thing. Once you have had chickenpox, there's a possibility of you getting shingles. And she says that basically shingles and chickenpox are caused by the same virus in your system. So you've been exposed, you've gotten chickenpox. It just lays dormant until something happens to your immune system. So when your immune system is compromised, and that can happen for a variety of different reasons, once your immune system is compromised, that's when you then become susceptible to getting shingles. And you can, and I said to her, well, I mean, they're saying the shingles vaccine is for 50 and over. Does that mean you can only get it 50 and over? She said, no. You can get, they had a teenager. She was telling me when she was studying in the UK, they had a teenager he was like 19 years old. He got a case of shingles and the infection was around his eye, and they had to treat him and hospitalize him because there was a fear that he could actually lose his eyesight in that eye. And I was like, what? Good morning, caller. Thank you, nurse, for making me that much more informed. Caller, good morning.
Morning. I remember you were talking about this the other day, and you were saying that some private schools, you know, make sure that you can't enter the private school without the vaccination. But the public schools are the same way. All my children have gone to public schools, and they have to be vaccinated unless you have an exemption.
Well, apparently it's
so
not. I don't know
if there's an uptick.
They're falling through the crack.
Getting exemptions or something.
No, they're falling through the crack because she said that they are finding that not a lot of kids, but some kids didn't get the second vaccine. So somebody's not really verifying it carefully enough, I guess.
Well, that's messed up because
it's concerning.
The other day, public health called me because my son just turned 4 this year, and they called me and they're like, hey, we're just wondering, did you go somewhere else to get the vaccine? Is she up to date? And
yeah,
and then when I registered for school, that's one of the requirements is the vaccine.
Somebody's not paying attention. Because I even said, I did the same thing. I was like, well, let me double check with my daughter. Because I'm like, is she all caught up? She's all vaccinated. And apparently, yes, she's good. But I wanted to make sure. But yeah, there are kids who apparently never got the second one. More so the first one they're good for because they get that much younger. And then, parents just fall through and taking them back for additional vaccinations. And just like shingles, you're not going to get the full protection if you don't do the full course of vaccines.
Right.
HPV is the same thing. That's I think it's 3 vaccines or 4. I think it's a 3 vaccine shot. And you've got to get it within a particular time frame, a particular window. So, you've got to, double check parents to make sure that your kids are fully vaccinated.
I wonder if lockdown had something to do with it, because I remember during lockdown they weren't doing, and then a lot of people got behind on vaccines. Maybe they never caught back up.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know how old these kids are. They're now getting it, but Red Bay, was it Red Bay the other day that said they had a case? But yeah, I mean, if you can prevent, I mean, think about it this way. If you can prevent your children from getting chicken pox, you then set them up and prevent them from ever getting shingles. Because as she rightfully pointed out, it's the same virus that causes the two. It's just that with shingles, it stays dormant in your system and only becomes active and flares up, if you will. You will have an active case of shingles once your immunity is compromised. I've got a doctor who's listening to the program, and he said, and remember that one of the most common causes of immunocompromise is actually diabetes. And think about how many people in our communities are diabetic.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are some of the things, and apparently shingles is way worse than chickenpox. Like if you had chickenpox and you thought, oh, shingles is not going to be so bad. What I'm hearing is, child, when I started looking at these pictures and stuff, that's when I was like, this is like an episode of Monsters Inside Me. I'm going to get my vaccine. Apparently this viral infection causes a really painful rash, and it can take up to a year to clear your system. And it never really clears your system, because then apparently it actually compromises your nerves and stuff as well. It actually can cause nerve damage. I was like, honey child, I already have nerve damage in my foot, which is horrible when that flares up. I do not need any shingles. So I'm like, hey, vaccines, that's the trick. I'm here for it. So go do some research, folks. Talk to your physicians. And like I said, the good nurse there at HSA in the vaccine clinic, Nurse Anna Kay, is very, very knowledgeable and informed. And so she was telling me as well about because they're keeping up with what's flaring up all over the place and whatever. Whooping cough has been on the increase because, again, a lot of parents are not getting their children immunized. And the thing about it is, if you travel, you are more likely to pick up stuff as a result of travel. The other thing she said, which I thought was very interesting, is a lot of times people need vaccines to be able to go abroad, whether they're going to live abroad, travel abroad, study abroad, whatever. The meningitis vaccine. When did the meningitis vaccine come about? We've had a few Caymanians who meningitis. We actually have had a few. They have a meningococcal vaccine, but we have actually had a few Caymanians who I know of, at least 2 that I can think of, that have actually died because of meningitis. Like they've gone overseas and picked up this inflammation, and this inflammation of the tissue surrounded the brain and spinal cord, and it can be deadly. So she was saying that university students a lot of times have to get that, but they tend to wait until the last minute, like they're traveling next week. And she said, listen, the whole idea with immunization and vaccines is that you have a certain time period, depending on the vaccine, where you need that time period for it to be able to offer you the protection. So, I've gotten my shingles vaccine. That's a 2-shot. It's not like I couldn't get shingles theoretically between now and the second one. Like you need to get the full course. And then after you get the full course, I think most of them, it's like 15 to 28 days or whatever before you get the full protection of it. So plan, if you know that you're traveling and you're going to need vaccines done, plan ahead and contact public health to try to get your vaccines sorted out. So this is a very, very serious thing. Somebody said that I heard that meningitis is actually on island now. Lord Jesus. Doctor says, and also whooping cough, which is pertussis, I think that's how it's pronounced, can occur in middle age as immunity from the childhood pertussis vaccine fades over time. She did say to me, do you want to get the one for whooping cough? And I was like, how many am I getting already? I was like, 3. So I think I will top up on a few more later in the year. Yeah, she did mention whooping cough. She said and some of these things come back with a vengeance. I mean, they're kids, listen, because people think that they know it all because of Dr. Google, they're allowing vaccines to slip, and they're not getting vaccines, and they're doing all kind of stuff, which is really allowing certain things, polio and all this kind of stuff to come back. And it's pretty crazy when you think about it, because we were almost on the not almost, we had, eradicated, and so much time was spent on the eradication of polio in the United States, for example. And now things like meningitis and polio and these things are coming back simply because people are refusing to get vaccinated. And it's a very, very dangerous position to take, because entire communities are now being exposed because of it. So I think I will get the whooping cough one as well. Because normally I thought whooping cough was only for babies, but when she mentioned it yesterday, I'm like, adults get it too? I'm telling you, she is a wealth of knowledge. She's like, oh yes, adults can get it. And then she went through the whole shingles thing and said there's so many things that can compromise your immunity, from like cancers to lots of things. And so you've got to be very, very careful. Now imagine being diabetic or having cancer, and then on top of that, having to deal with shingles. Oh my God, so crazy. This person says the shingles nerve pain is torture. I had it last year, June, had a nerve pain attack up until last night. What? The rash is a joke compared to the nerve pain. The nerve gets hard as a rock. And where do you get the nerve pain? Like, is it the same area that you had the rash, or can it be like any nerve in the body? Like, how does that work? Oh my gosh, that sounds so scary. This person says you have to have certain vaccines to go into Africa now. Can't go there unless you can show your vaccination card. And she mentioned that. She did say that that was one of the things with Panama. If you travel to Panama, which has yellow fever, and then you try to go to Africa, the airlines with you going into Africa are going to ask you for your vaccination record if you have a history of travel to certain countries. And for us, because a lot of Caymanians with a direct flight are actually going to Panama. This person says, I know one young man from here who died from it because he wasn't diagnosed early, and by the time he was airlifted to the US, it was too late. Oh, so he had meningitis in Cayman? What? Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Manderson, how are you? I'm
yes,
good,
how are you today?
Not too bad. I saw your message and I was going to call you.
Yes. But good morning to everyone.
Yes.
I just wanted to say something quickly about the weather. A formal release will be coming out.
Oh my
but
gosh, again.
Yes, but actually we are praying that things will not be as bad as they were a few days ago. So I just got off the phone with our the team at the weather service. Since 7 p.m. last night, we've had a quarter inch of rain. And we estimate for the rest of the day, we will have between a half an inch and an inch of rain. The good news, clouds at the moment are moving away from the island, northwest towards Cuba. But we want people to know that if they are experiencing any issues in the flooding, they can call hazard management at 949-6555, 949-6555. We're urging motorists to stay off the roads. It's still a lot of rain, lots of flooding. So if you don't have to be on the road, please don't, and exercise caution if you're going to be on the road. So a more formal notification will come out shortly,
Okay.
but I just
Thank you
wanted
so
to
much.
give everybody a little heads up.
Yes,
Okay.
because I hadn't realized that. I mean, I know it's raining, but I hadn't realized that it had started to deteriorate yet again. So
Yeah.
we really,
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Someone is
Okay.
asking about the schools. Is there anything at
Yeah.
this stage that might be happening in terms of schools?
Yeah, no information at the moment, but like I said, we're just sort of assessing things at the moment, and then a formal statement will come out shortly.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. All right.
Yes, love it. Thank you
Bye.
so much. And Jim
Bye-bye.
says, thank you, Mr. Manderson. And folks, that's what you call being proactive. I woke up this morning and I'm like, more rain again, but I didn't realize that we're forecasting to get quite a bit more. Let's talk a bit about the weather. And then I want to talk about that poor cow and your other animals and some of the things that you should be doing. So first of all, thank you to the Deputy Governor for giving us that alert. Wow. Well, what's with the weather? It's loving us. It's just wanting to stay around a little bit longer. Here's the thing, folks. As you guys know, Florida got the same storm system that basically we received over the week, earlier in the week. Today is now what, Thursday? Yes, it was early in the week for us. And trust me when I tell you, they have issued a state of emergency. I told you that they would have to. The situation in Florida is horrific. Really, really bad. Airports flooded. They have gotten the equivalent of 1 year's worth of rain in the space of like 48 hours. And so this system is drenching them. And, let's just be honest. Nobody's ready for it. There's only so much rain that you can take before you are just, cars flooded out, everything. So let's get a quick little update. I'll show you a couple videos on where we are with, 1 second here, where we are with the situation currently. I was listening to the news this morning. People, husbands getting phone calls from their wives like, oh, honey, I'm stranded in this water. And flash flooding as well. And they need help. They're having to be rescued and so on. So it's pretty wild out there. Fort Lauderdale streets flooded. People are up to knee deep water. Like, it is crazy what's happening. So let's have a look at a few of these. Thank you so much. A few people still give me some update. A physician says that the nerve damage can affect, any nerve can be affected. Wow. And then this other person who had it says the rash tracks on the nerve. It's hard when it's flaring up and you press down on your lungs. The nerve pain is on the same track, and the rash tracks on the nerve from the best plate around to center back, from the breastplate. I guess it depends on where you get it. And apparently you can get it anywhere. So scary. All right, let's watch some weather videos here, because yes, I am aware that this is something of grave concern to, to people in Florida. And listen, we've got a Florida and Cayman group, Caymanians in Florida group. And, a lot of them, the group was set up by Kevin Watler during, I think it was last year's storm that hit parts of Florida. Was it the year before? But anyway, we're going to send out some positive thoughts and prayers to them as well, because now they're going to be getting a bit of that as well. Wow. And it's not looking good. Okay, hold on. Here's this one. Fort Lauderdale streets flooded.
Our special coverage at this hour of this flood event happening in South Florida. Nicole Perez, Calvin Hughes, we're going to take you now to Fort Lauderdale, a hard-hit area from all of the rain. And Sanella Sabovic standing by with the very latest on what is happening there. Sanella.
Torrential downpours creating a flood of trouble here in Fort Lauderdale. We are in the Riverland area. This is in West Fort Lauderdale along Southwest 14th Street. This is an area prone to flooding. I am standing in several inches of flooded street water. You can still see some cars managing to get through this roadway behind me, they are doing ever so slowly. But if you take a look behind, right on Southwest 31st Avenue, there is a man that's stalled out in the street there trying to get out of that main roadway, which appears to be flooding as well. But I want to direct your attention to these side streets, Southwest 14th Street, Southwest 13th Streets. These residential neighborhoods have already started to see their streets look really more like rivers than roadways. And as you can see, these folks trying to do their best to walk on sidewalks. Of course, they can't see, so they're being ever so careful. And the several inches of standing flood water here getting dangerously close to homes in this area, this corner house. As you can see, only a few more inches before the water gets into that front door there, before it starts flooding the cars here. So we're going to be in this Riverland area monitoring the situation here. Again, if you don't need to go out, please stay indoors. That is the latest here out of West Fort Lauderdale. Sanella Sabovic, Local 10 News.
With the life-threatening conditions in Florida at this hour, a flash flood emergency after torrential rains. Several inches already, up to 20 inches could fall during this storm. Treacherous driving on I-95 near Miami, visibility near zero right there. Part of that major highway shut down for a time. Sarasota tonight underwater, 4 inches of rain in just 1 hour. This fire truck right here barely making its way through. Tornado warnings with destructive winds bringing trees down in Martin County north of West Palm Beach. The rain and the winds causing airport delays and cancellations. More than 1,000 flights canceled or delayed at airports in South Florida. We're also tracking this storm, not over yet, and the extreme heat moving into the east, potentially record high temperatures up and down the East Coast. ABC's Victor Akendo leading us off from Miami tonight.
Tonight, sheets of torrential rain flooding roads, stranding vehicles, inundating the Sunshine State. A flash flood emergency north of Miami. The National Weather Service warning of life-threatening conditions, 4 to 6 inches of rain in an hour in spots.
It's all just lining up like train on a tracks, going over the same areas over and over again.
Part of Interstate 95, that major north-south artery, shut down due to flooding. Crews using vacuum trucks racing to clear debris from storm drains across the area. Driving simply treacherous.
Could not see behind me or in front of me, so we need to drive very slow.
Air travel snarled. More than 1,000 flights delayed or canceled entirely at South Florida airports. The system fueled by tropical moisture, even spawning a tornado warning in Martin County. High winds taking out huge trees. It's been pouring all over the state for days. This fire truck barely making it down the street in Sarasota after nearly 8 inches fell there, nearly 4 coming in just 1 hour. Experts say our changing climate is causing rainfall events like these to become more frequent and more intense.
David, we're near downtown Miami where the water keeps on rising. Here it's almost up to my knees, but it only gets worse further down the street where all these cars are flooded. You can also see that school bus. This is not over yet. Let's go to the map. All of South Florida is under a flood watch through at least tomorrow. Up to 10 inches of additional rain possible through Saturday. And we're also tracking the heat that's building in the east. Mid to upper 90s from the southeast up to the mid-Atlantic by Friday. Now, just north of us in Fort Lauderdale, they have declared a state of emergency. When all is said and done here, some areas could see up to 20 inches of rain. David?
Just an extraordinary scene playing out there in South Florida. Victor, thank you.
Wow.
Life-threatening flooding hammering South Florida, leaving communities in Miami and Fort Lauderdale underwater.
The state's governor declaring a state of emergency for several counties as more rain is on the way. Fox 31's Talia Cunningham is tracking that threat. Talia.
Well, Erica, torrential downpours are inundating parts of southern Florida right now. Just look at all this water. Some areas seeing more than 10 inches of rain in just a matter of days. The National Weather Service calling it a tropical disturbance that's currently pushing across Florida from the Gulf of Mexico. And tonight, it is wreaking havoc on residents. Yeah, you can hear all that heavy rain slamming the windshield of that car as the driver deals with low visibility and ponding on the highway. And take a look here. This video is coming to us tonight from Sarasota, where flooding is a major concern. This video shows a major roadway covered in water as heavy rain continues to fall tonight, making driving conditions dangerous. A few cars are trying to make their way through that road there, and you can see that one car next to that police vehicle is stuck in those high waters. Some cars were even seen floating in that area as several roads are now blocked off. Sarasota is seeing 10 inches of rain already. And this here is video in Miami-Dade where cars are plowing through inches of rain, the water reaching up to mid-tire level for many drivers. Dire warnings have been issued for areas that are now seeing life-threatening flooding. We know more than 100 water rescues have been called in as drivers are left stranded and many others distressed by this rushing water. This system is moving slowly through as we start hurricane season, but it has many people worried about what's to come this year.
You know, it was a substantial event. It kind of parked itself over the area, so hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come.
If this is just a small unnamed storm, I am definitely concerned to see what hurricane season holds for us.
And rightfully so. This hurricane season is predicted to be one of the most active we've seen in recent history. The flooding is causing some big travel delays tonight as well. Flights into Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood International Airport are being diverted, and many others are canceled tonight. And this is a trend we really will see for the rest of the week, and that's because, unfortunately, Florida is not drying out anytime soon. This big system is expected to continue at least until Friday, dumping more rain over the Sunshine State. In studio, Talia Cunningham, Fox 31.
My goodness. Wow. I mean, we thought we had it bad. You don't see people walking through knee-deep water in Florida? So yes, the governor has declared a state of emergency yesterday, and I told y'all he would have to. As soon as I heard it was headed for Florida, I'm like, listen, Broward, Miami-Dade, they can't take, they're just like us, just low-lying like us. They cannot handle it. But I don't think any place could handle 4 inches of water like in a couple hours. Like, it's just unbelievable. So, and one of the big concerns with, you know, flooding, especially in Florida, is the alligators get washed into the streets too. So I was watching a newscast this morning and somebody was joking with the guy who was standing in the knee-deep water, like, oh my God, I feel like you need to be careful. Because, you know, this is a real threat. He was like, try not to remind me of that. But anyway, hazard management now, just open up my window and yes, it looks just like it did on Monday. It's quite dreary out there. If you need some assistance, the number to call is 949-6555. We're getting some, it continues. We're thankful for the rain, but we didn't really feel like we needed quite so much at one time. But hey, we don't get to bargain with Mother Nature, you know. Mentioning the fact that climate change is definitely also have an impact in these very unusual weather conditions. Ay. What a mess, honey, Chia. So again, official statements will be coming out here shortly. I appreciate the governor, the deputy governor, calling into the program and informing us that once again, if you do not have to be on the roadway, by all means, stay inside today. I've got an appointment and I kind of get to court because if the jury comes back with this verdict today, I want to be there. Wow. Shaka Zulu says Aventura in North Miami Beach now has 19.6 inches of rain since yesterday. Madness. There's the, yes, hazard management 949-6555 is the telephone number. Marshall says that he was in Fort Lauderdale about 2 years ago. It rained all weekend and the roads were flooded all over. It doesn't take much anymore for sure. The West Coast was hit quite hard as well with this weather system, says Jim. So more rain, yes, expected today and into tomorrow. I was hoping the rest of this week would have been nothing but sunshine. Honey, chill. What a mess. Poor cow. Okay, so let's talk about this cow. Somebody contacted us. I didn't actually put up the post. So I keep saying this, and I think you guys think a lot of times when you're on social media, chances are if you're communicating on social media, you're actually not talking to me. So, yeah. Cameron says some gator meat getting cooked up in Florida now. Don't let me see any hicatees around. Yeah. Well, I saw hicatee the other day. Do people actually eat hicatees though? Those little things? Why would you eat a hicatee? Leave them hicatees alone. So let's talk about the poor. So somebody sent this in. I think. Hello.
Let's talk about the poor.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sunday.
All
Nice
right.
to hear again. I just sent you some photographs. I didn't really intend to bring this as an issue, but when I was looking over the blog of that guy, what's his name, Fabian Scott, criticizing somebody that he don't know whether or not they are a Caymanian or not, is making it out like it's us and them.
Where was this? This was on Facebook or what?
I saw it. It was right under the article
The Facebook
about the
post.
cows. Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently, from what I'm seeing, the person was taking the picture that was in your taking the picture probably took it from Mount Pleasant, but these pictures that I just sent you it's ridiculous.
Is this the same cows in the same area?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God!
Look at that! Look at the little baby calf there, and the guy. This is not the first time that this place flooded. The guy is that owns these. He just don't care about. Like yesterday, I went and what they had. They put some banana leaves and some coconut leaves in the water. The poor cows are drinking that water while they're eating. I'm going to make it as graphic as possible so you know what how I feel. I sent you another picture of the trough. There's two troughs there. There's two troughs there. One is on stilts, and the other one is resting right in the water. Once you put the food in there, it mixes with that swamp water. It's not only swamp water, but this is where it has cow feces and chicken feces in it.
Oh my God!
People don't realize that we are one of the highest cancer places in the world. And who do we know that this is not being one of the causes of us having cancer? I wouldn't buy beef.
Somebody just said if the cow is sick, you can't eat the meat. You can't sell the beef. So who is treating these cows like this? And why would you want to do this? I mean, this is so inhumane on so many different levels.
And the poor cows yesterday, when there was sunshine, they were in 12 inches of water, 10 inches of water, right under the logwood trees. And there's two big mounds of topsoil. There's no place for them to lay down. And how can you throw leaves in the water and expect the cows not to drink that water with when they're eating? You know, and I went so far before I brought. Yesterday, I called. Let me give you his name, Eric. I called the vet.
Mr. Eric Barton,
at the vet at the agriculture department, and he told me that he was not assigned to do that right then, and he advised me to get hold to the front desk, and then they give me the number. They give me the number for Eric Barton, and he is saying all of the cows, the farmers are having the same problem. My issue with that is that this farmer that owned these cattle, he was well aware of all of these flooded areas, but he's doing nothing. Why couldn't he not put about 8 or 10 truckloads of fill to bring it up where these cows would have a place to be out of the water, and they're in the sun. They do not have any shade at all.
Now,
There's
Dexter,
another.
can I tell you something? This story is about to get worse.
And there's another area. There's another area down there on Bush-Tree Hill Road, just close to where the church is at, behind the stadium. These cows had to go right up against, and was one little mound of stuff right up against the wall to get away of the water. Now, I must say there's a little shade there, but they can't get to it because of all this deep water. It is sickening.
All right, let me give you. I want you to listen to this. I'm going to tell you a bit more, but thank you so much, Mr. Dexter. This is really horrific.
Okay,
and we've got to do better than this.
And for this Fabian Scott to make it us and them, we have to be the voice of these animals.
Who is Fabian? Who is Fabian Scott? Studied at John Gray.
He has a blog. He did a blog.
He did a post, a comment.
Yes.
All right, let's read some of the comments. Thank you, Mr. Dexter. Appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
All right, my dear. So this was the original post that came in. Good afternoon, Miss Sandra. Please keep me anonymous. It's very heartbreaking to know that this has been going on for years and that the owner for the livestock on this piece of land does nothing about removing the cows from the water on this piece of land. It is very inhumane and sad to watch these cows stand in the water for days until sun dries the water up. And unfortunately, the cows can't even lay down at all. Really think Agriculture Department should be aware of this cruel act. Additionally, it is very appalling to see that he is using a DEH government truck to carry food, etc., to this location for the cows. This is very unacceptable for the government truck to be used for this purpose, or used for this, and not the right purpose, including using the gas from the government gas station to do this type of act. Don't get me wrong. I know that there's a lot of other people out there using the government trucks for their personal stuff, but just to reiterate this again, it's very unacceptable. Government did not provide those work trucks for personal use. All right, so here is what we have since come to find out about the situation, which is, I think this person hinted at it, but it might not have been very clear and evident. This is what somebody else said last night. They said, I'm embarrassed to say that this is the immediate past president of the Agricultural Society. And no, this is not supported by the society. It promotes farmers moving animals to higher ground when inclement weather is approaching. So apparently, I'm told, very, very good sources here, that the person who is doing this is none other than Mr. George Smith, and he is the past immediate president of the Agriculture Society, and he actually works at DEH, hence why that truck is there. And as the person was pointing out in the post, being used for quote unquote personal use. Y'all need to slap me bald-headed this morning. Say what? What did I just read? What did y'all just say to me? He works for DEH, using a DEH truck to stop by and check on the cows, still not doing them any favors because, as you can see, the poor calf standing and the mama standing in water, in standing water. They're little hoof, they'll get hoof rot or whatever it's called. But then to find out that he's part of, or he was part, I guess he probably still is, part of the Agricultural Society? Is this a joke? Y'all have got to be kidding me. Nobody could be part of the Agricultural Society and treating cows like this. Not only is it just inhumane because they are a living animal, and we should have some respect for them as living creatures, but what is he doing with these cows? Is this then cow that we're going to see on the Christmas table for Christmas meat? For Christmas beef? Please tell me that's not what's happening here. This is I'm shocked. I don't know who George Smith is, but whoever you are, sir, can you please do better than this? Let me see who Mr. George Smith is. I'm not impressed. This is disgusting. Former Agricultural Society president. Wow. Mm. I am flabbergasted, quite frankly. Somebody said, I thought George worked for the agriculture department. My apologies. But you used to be DEH. Hold on. Let me confirm. Hold on. No, well, the person says he works at DEH. So let me just verify. I know people get them confused. Wow. A civil servant. Lord have mercy. Y'all make the civil servants look bad. So this person says, no, he's still at DEH. So he's a DEH as an inspector for many, many years. Wow. He better learn how to inspect his own poor cows. Listen to me. If you're going to be in the cattle business, the very minimum you should be prepared to do is to move your cattle to higher ground if and when necessary. That water will potentially stay there for days. And you cannot do that. Somebody says he's been using the government trucks for years for his personal use. Can we get a picture of what Mr. George looks like? Who is he? I'm trying to put a picture to the face. What? That can't be. You can't use DEA truck. And I mean, there's the proof if you need the evidence. Did he have some kind of, work to be doing at that location? I can assure you that the DEH people are listening this morning. And so I'm sure somebody's going to have a good talking to him about this, because you can't do this. This is what, listen now, this is what makes them look all bad. Standards, please. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. So I'm just playing devil's advocate here,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
In no way do I condone, animals being abused, or it's not acceptable.
Yes.
Suppose, right, when this gentleman, I don't even know who he is, bought this land and put his cows there, and it was high land and it never flooded, and then all of a sudden, because all of the development that's going on, we know that places are now flooding that never used to flood before.
Right.
And then he has nowhere else to put them. I'm not saying that is a valid excuse or that he should mistreat the animals, but I'm just saying, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Suppose that's the case. I mean, are all the people that are complaining about it, are they willing to give him land to move the cows?
Let me respond to your devil advocate's position.
I'll hang up and listen.
Okay, thank you so much. This is what I'm thinking about it, and I like it. I like her trying to be fair and say, hold on a second now. Maybe there's some extenuating circumstances here. Yes, let's take it all under consideration. The problem is, I'm being told that this land floods all the time, that this is nothing new. This would not be the first time that this land has flooded. It happens all the time. Now, knowing that this is a flood-prone piece of property, he needs to take steps to either fill it or move those cows from that location. Here's the other thing of interest, right? He's a past president of the Agriculture Society. Surely he must know people in the cattle business, where if his piece of land is low-lying and he knows that we're getting a system coming through, this is where you have got to plan. Remember, we talk about hurricane preparedness. Some of you will have hurricane preparedness needs that extend beyond your immediate family. You might have businesses, right, that you need to make sure you're securing and protecting. Some of you have apartment rentals. You can't just worry about yourself and not your tenants during a storm when you're a landlord. He's a cattle man. I don't know what they call him. Farmer. He's got cattle. And so he has to think about a storm is coming. Several inches of rain is predicted. I know what's happened to the poor land that the cows have been on before. We need to do something about it. There has to be a contingency plan here. And as a member of the society, I am sure that he has connections with somebody with a piece of land that's a little bit higher than his. This person says it's not his land. He just keeps the cows on it. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying he needs to try and find somewhere else to keep the cows. The land always floods, says this other person, from the time I know myself. And this is in West Bay, right? As there is a pond across the road that when it floods, it runs over the road and causes flooding to the property where the cows are at. That lady does not know anything about the area. Well, she was just playing. I mean, bless her little heart. You know who she's reminding me of this morning? Miss Darlene. That's the kind of thing Miss Darlene would say. She was always for, oh, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And, you know, we're going to think about it. But then based on what people who know the area, and I don't know where in West Bay this is, it says Medellin. Everybody says he's known as Lulu in West Bay. But, you know, people saying, nope, that's not his land, da-da-da-da. Mr. George, come on now, get it together. This is not K-Mankind for sure to animals. Now, I know that Caymanians a lot of times are not the most animal-friendly people in the world. Thank you, Faded Mary Jane. She said that's off of Batabanoo Road. And this would explain the ignorance of comments, Mr. Dexter, sorry, was talking about the comment from, who was this guy? Hold on, let me just scroll down. From Fabian, right? Where Fabian said, and I mean, Fabian, I don't know who you are, but I would hope your mama taught you better than this now. Come on, Fabian. You know, this is where Caymanians get a bad name is, oh, we don't care about our animals. We're, you know, oh my God. Sometimes I do have to shake my head at when I see comments like this. So Fabian's position is one of a bit of a don't care attitude, and he's going to blame the expats for this, apparently. These expats, like, y'all want to blame us for everything. Like, seriously? So Faded Mary Jane says, yep, not a today thing. It's been happening for years. And this makes it even more egregious because that means that it's predictable and you should know better, Mr. George. So Fabian says, I make no apology about this. It's always foreigners that have a problem with how we live. Everything that is not customary to how they think it should be because of their culture, they want to change. I, for one, am sick of it. If you have a problem with how we raise our cattle, go back to where you're comfortable with how you feeling it should be done. Say what? Now, Fabian, let me be very, very clear now. There are times when such a comment may have been appropriate, but on this particular post, that is not appropriate. So we can't take a position of every single time. And first of all, you're making an assumption that it was an expat. I would have to go back to the messages. And I'm willing to bet it's probably not even an expat. Not that many expats hanging out down Batabanoo Road, I can tell you that. It's probably a Caymanian or local person who said, look, you know, tell this man to get his ish together. The fact that they even made the observation about the DEH truck and the manner, if you read that post, that don't sound like no expat to me, because they're not business about him using the truck and where he working. That is a Caymanian, honey child. They up in Mr. George business. That's how they were able to slide that comment in. So pick a little sense from nonsense, Fabian. But here's what Erin says in response to him. She says, with all due respect, how is the treatment of cattle described above a part of Cayman culture? I guarantee we all agree that local herds should be given proper land to graze, rest in the shade and a dry patch, drink fresh water. Surely that could be completely acceptable. And I agree with Erin. This doesn't have anything to do with Caymanians versus expat. I'm sorry, Fabian. I can't support you in your thinking, not at all. We have to understand, first of all, Caymanians the one who eating the beef, you know. Christmas time, even when it's not Christmas time, y'all love your Cayman style beef. You have got to treat, I get it that we're eventually going to slaughter them and eat them, but you have got to treat them humanely. This concept of not caring about whether it's domestic animals, cattle, you know, the green iguanas, things in the environment, we have this don't care attitude. And then we push it off as, well, the only people that care about the environment apparently are expats. Let me be very, very clear. Lots of Caymanians are animal lovers. They treat their animals and their cattle properly, right? They get attached to the very chickens, from what I can understand. Y'all don't even want to kill the chickens. And, this is, listen, don't peg all Caymanians with a broad brush. And in fact, I'm going to say the majority of Caymanians are going to look at this situation, Fabian, and see that this is completely wrong. These cattles, the cows should not be standing in this water for days on end. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Sandy. It's me again. I
Hi,
just wanted to tell Fabian that I'm from Kimmenbrack, which makes me a Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
I go back about 6 or 7 generations, so I care about another life.
Mm-hmm.
It is sad when you find these animals drinking the feces water.
Oh my God.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's
There's
horrible.
chickens, and because the chickens go there to pick up when the cow poops, and for them to be drinking that water, because there's water in a container, but that's mixed in with this piece's water as well. It is disgusting. No animal should be treated this way. We can't. Sure,
And especially animals that we're going to turn on and digest and eat ourselves. Like, what the hell?
And this one of these cows that was drinking the water, she's pregnant.
Oh my God. Mm.
And it's so sad, that people have that mentality to say foreigners, us and them. It has nothing to do with that. It's about being a voice for the voiceless.
Thank you, Mr. Dexter. I appreciate it.
I don't want this person to think that I'm a foreigner.
We know that we know that's not the case. All right, thank you.
Sandy.
Appreciate
Take
it.
care. Bye.
Jim says proper treatment, point blank, period. Nothing to do with whether you're an expat or not. Priscilla says, were they there in the weather over the weekend? Yeah, well, apparently this is where the cows are always at. Rain, shine, whatever. You Little Brat says he was keeping the cows next to the new construction and had to move them from there because government gave the adjacent lot permission to build a wall, and their property their property is like 4 feet above the ground of the lot where he usually keeps them. There's so much to this story that the public really knows. Well, the public is saying that he's been doing this for years. So I don't know nothing about this construction now, this new construction. But if this has been an issue for years, this should be addressed. Marcia says, Fabian, you are wrong. Cameron says, Caymanians are like foreigners now anyways. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Cameron. Shaka Zulu says, whilst Fabian might have a point about the foreigners' influence on our islands, his reasoning is very flawed to address this animal cruelty we're witnessing. Oh my gosh. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. Is that me?
Yes. Good morning, Minister.
Morning. I just thought I'd call in while I'm in the action mode, so to speak. I'm out with NRA going through my different areas of where drains needs to be and learning more and more about drains with the NRA crew. And one of the things I want to advise the public, particularly that of Georgetown Central, is that one of the main things that needs to be learned and understood is the maintenance of your drainage areas, because obviously the NRA crew is going to get a lot of blame for not maintaining and not blowing up the drains and so forth. But trees and leaves and branches and coconuts and all kinds of sorts will fall around the neighborhood, plus trash where people just plastic bottles and whatever else you can think of will easily flow towards the drains, because that's what the water does. It flows toward the drain.
Yes.
So you can even have debris 50 feet away from the drain, and one little bit of rain will drag everything towards that area. So one of the things that we can do, of course the NRA and the government will have to do what it has to do, but one of the things we can do to be proactive is, as often as we possibly can with things close by a drain, is try to keep as much debris away from it as possible. But also see if you can put some sort of protective barrier close by your drain, that if something does float towards it, it doesn't go down in the drain. And I think that's an important lesson for us to all to learn, because we can see it dried up for 2 days and we're back at it with the rain right now. So when it dries back up again, I want us to be conscious within our streets in our neighborhoods, as well as drains within your own yard, trying to keep debris away from drains as much as possible, because NRA can come today, blow it out. Within a week, it can be all clogged up again. And then the first thing we say is that the NRA isn't doing their job. So I'm trying to balance the necessary responsibility and accountability. We're all in this together, and nobody wants nobody wants a person's assets and homes to be flooded out, or our neighborhoods to be flooded out. So we can do it together. And I can promise Georgetown Central that I will do everything I can with NRA to make sure we put in the necessary drainage systems within the structures that we have now, okay? So just remember that for me, and bear in mind to the public, I know the DG called in earlier, we do have some weather now, and the country hasn't had a chance to really breathe yet properly, so it hasn't had enough sun. So don't be surprised if you see the water levels pop up really quickly again. It is not estimated to be as bad as it was the other day, but be mindful of these things. And as per protecting your home and flooding from inside, I'm working on some initiatives that I'll tell my constituency in the coming days of how to protect your home from water coming in if the water comes into your yard. All right. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. Thanks very much. Okay, folks, 936-2626 is the telephone number. So, we do have another caller waiting. Morning, caller.
Good morning, Auntie. How are you today?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right myself. About this cow.
So one of the flooding problems, right, is right here. That this water comes down here and goes into the side.
Hold on.
So, hello?
I hung up for him. I think he forgot to hang up.
Okay. Yeah, about this cow issue. I mean, I'm a vegetarian, but which pasture land in the Cayman Islands are in a pasture land? All pasture land is low lying, you know. All pasture land is low lying, and especially here in Cayman, it's very limited places that pasture land is not gonna flood out. You know, might be in Eastern and North side, couple of places, because all the pasture land in Newlands and about there isn't it can't be used anymore. What the agriculture should be doing, the society is having a place that in case of this thing happened in major hurricanes and stuff, that you know how cattle and all that dying and floating on the street.
Yeah, he was the president. So aren't they thinking about these things?
What you call it, like a kettle, what do you call it, a kettle or something where you could put all the cattle and stuff, you know, in a safe, secure place. You know, like the people could carry them there and put them there, because I mean, even the agriculture ground now is flooded out. You know, even their compound now is flooded out also. You know, so that's something to think about in the future. You know,
yeah, I mean, I would have thought the agriculture society would have thought of that before.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there again.
I agree,
they didn't think about it. You know, but yeah, in not much cattle land yet to put cows. Pasture land, all pasture land is low. It's nice and green and stuff, but it's all low lying land. You know. Okay then.
Thank you, my dear. I'm not going to pretend to be any kind of agricultural expert, so I don't know. But what I do know is this today something that we should be thinking about, folks. I mean, let's be proactive and let's do a little bit of forward thinking here. If it's happened before, it's likely to happen again. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, dear.
Up in Savannah, Buddy's Way. There are quite a few pieces of empty land up there, and the land up there is high and dry. So maybe somebody could go check it out and then transport the animals to some of those empty lots.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, love. Good morning, caller. Hello, caller. I think we missed a caller there. Strong Wilt says, I hope agriculture tests these cows before he sells them. Just saying. Hunter says, I can feel the pain on their hoofs right now. I had a similar situation with a cow a few years ago. I managed to move them as a farmer. It isn't easy to see, but in some situations, it's very difficult for a lot of our farmers, especially financially. The government should help. Well, if you get into the farming business, Hunter, not for nothing, but it is a business as well. And you've got to make sure that you have these contingency plans in place and you're thinking about this stuff. You know, and the farmers have a farmer association. They should be working in conjunction with each other. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, me again. What Kenneth was saying is true, but I am for one that used to be wrong my dream up here, the one that I have, because I have a cover for it. What NRA did was put the grid, like the big old piece of iron, off me, because I tell you, I have to be monitoring. If the tide get high, sometimes water will come out to it too. And I, for one, used to always be wrong that anytime I see any little thing going on, but I tell you, it got out of hand. But the property in front of me, the stuff coming over in front here, and I tried to get my people to cut it, and they said that no, that they're not cutting that because that's for the other people over there. So that's what happened to I agree. And right now, my yard full right back up again. It had dry foot. Now saying, oh my God, that's good, because tomorrow now I got to go with my husband, and I don't know if them people can want to come down here. I got to go help sit with him tomorrow. And you know, and I looking out right now, it's not as bad as it was, but it's filling right back up. I mean, you could walk good dry foot up in here, and I outside, it's filling right back up, and that's what we need up in here, more drains, because this road too big, and it's only 2 drains up in here. I tell you, the one that down by my mother-in-law, she says she don't think that rotten, because I'm looking on it right now, and that full up with water. So what he says too, yeah, that stuff will go down in it. But I know that, and I always used to be around it. Then if I see a little thing going around it, I would always pick it up and pelt it out. But like I tell you, when it now I call it, I plug it that nothing don't go down, and I could show anybody can come out and I can show them. I got a cap on the post and everything, and I like it, but they need to come out and tell you nobody come out here from the other day, and not me falling up again. Not me falling up again. This is
Well, let NRA know, my dear.
I had anxiety attack the other night. I feel like I was choking. I get something up my feel like a lump. I had to jump up. Midnight loon, stress loon. No, it's not easy.
Thank you, my dear.
Back.
I appreciate it.
My back. Yes, they need more drains all down that road. We're flooding. I don't know if down that clear out yet. I know been out there since yesterday. But my yard had the front at least had clear out good, but it getting full right, and that rain continuing. And Alexa say, I don't know if she know what she's saying, but she say 63% chance, and we want how 0.2 inches or whatever.
That's what she told you? She know what she's talking about then?
That's what she told me from me. She tells me the thing, so on an acre, she can tell me. She tells me.
Yes,
I talked to her, and I it was going to be in the rain, and she told me from yesterday that today it was going to be 63% chance, and it will be 0.2 inches. She told me that.
All right, love. Thank you very much. All right, folks. Yes, sir. Alexa number one gone came man. She giving us the sus. Let me ask her and see what she says. Alexa, what's the weather in the Cayman Islands?
Did you know that crickets can help you tell the temperature?
Crickets? What the hell?
Cricket chirps you hear outside in 14 seconds. Then add 40 to get the temperature in Fahrenheit. Currently, in Georgetown, Cayman Islands, it's 83 degrees Fahrenheit with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect thunderstorms with a high of 87 degrees and a low of 83 degrees.
Okay. Alexa, will it rain in the Cayman Islands today?
It might rain in Georgetown, Cayman Islands today. There's a 55% chance at 1 p.m. Before I go, if you typically check the Amazon app to see if your packages have been delivered,
No, sir.
I always send timely notifications so you don't have to check. Want me to do that?
No, thanks. No, sir. We don't want Marlon to be tracking my deliveries. Next thing you know, every Alexa device in the house is like, your packages of whatever is being delivered right now. Marlon be like, what are you ordering again? All right, so listen. Yes, we're getting rain, folks. Deputy Governor called in earlier. Please be mindful. Hazard management number. You can give them a call. So I think that something has to be done about the cows. Please do it. Just sort yourself out. Prosperity Purpose says an expat has already went to jail for animal cruelty. Please be aware of how you treat your animals. Ms. Bonnie says, I stopped eating beef long ago from they start feed them with cow feed and not grass. Cameron says, what's disgusting is having people sleeping in cars and bathing at the beach. Cameron, you can hold more than one thought in your brain at the same time. You can be outraged and disgusted by that. And at the very same time, you can be outraged and disgusted at cows being made to stand in, water. And then those cows are going to go to market and we're going to consume and eat those cows. One time I saw a cow being slaughtered. I don't know why my cousin decided to take me to get some fresh Cayman beef. And instead of going to the place where you just go inside and you buy the beef and whatever, she's like, oh, let's go to this place. It's down Sand Road. And they were out there actually killing the beef. Honey, child, after I saw that, I got to tell you, I was like, how much do I really like beef? Oh my God. Just seeing the process of how they butcher these cows on the outside, all of the flies and stuff around the place. I got to tell you, I came this close to never eating Cayman beef or any beef again ever in my life. I was just like, what the heck did I just witness? But the greediness took over. But I got to tell you, it really churned my stomach. Miss Kathy says, is that Mount Pleasant Road? Apparently, yes. Hunter's asking Kenny, he thought he was going to talk about the cows. He said, what about the cows? Save the cows. Gary Whitaker's in the house. Big G, what's up? Says, hi, it's Gary from Timely Trucking. Hey, Gary. You have a trucking company, Gary? I didn't know that. We have all types of aggregate to help with this problem in other flood-prone areas. Gary is doing a shameless plug for his company today, which was a company I did not even know he had. I thought you were just retired and living a life of leisure. We should talk, Gary. We can certainly offer you some wonderful advertising packages here on CMR. K-Mankind said, yes, sir. People in the community should help out. MPs should tap in with NRA prior to the rainy season. I've been suggesting a metal mesh under the drain grill. I was going to ask, why are the drains, like the top of those grills, so big anyway that allow all sorts of debris to go in them? Couldn't we get smaller grills? Mario says, yep, that's a corner of Mount Pleasant and Meadows Avenue. K-Mankind says, honey chow, Richard Sims don't care. It isn't the first time this issue has been reported to him personally. Oh, but Mr. George using the trucks. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's not good. Somebody gonna get written up. Debbie says, massive respect for Mr. Dexter today. Here we go. People making excuses for bad behavior. Stop it. What a mess. What a mess. I tell you. Dry foot, wet foot, says Cameron. That's what we on today in Cayman. Leroy says the drones get blown out. Since the drones get blown out, they should work perfect. Also, high tide is to blame. Well, and I think, drones, I suppose, can only do so much as well. Kasia says, I was wondering how long it would be before someone came up with the government should help mantra. Why people expect government to do everything for them? Well, it's a question I ask all the time because I'm a personal believer that people need to be more self-sufficient. You want a government that helps and y'all complain about the cost of everything? You do know these departments cost money to run, right? Government has $1 billion budget. They're spending our money. They got to make that money from somewhere, and that helps to add to the cost of living. So don't be asking government to interfere and do everything for you and come into every aspect of your life unless you're willing to pay for it. And there's always a question of the fact that government isn't the most efficient a lot of times at doing and offering the services that they offer. I'm just saying. K Mankind says a big shout out to Hartwell Macfield, who's always in the Windsor Park community clearing leaves and debris from the drain. Cameron says goats will stand on your rooftop. Well, they got a little bit more sense, and I mean they're different, obviously, than cows. I'm sure if the cows could get up on the rooftop, they'd probably do that too. Anthony says we need the littering under control, which will help with clogging up the drains. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, hi. How can I help? Where's 505 area code? Mexico. She's calling from Mexico? Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Farmington, Gallup, all of northwestern New Mexico and some of central New Mexico? Where you calling from, honey chill? How can we help you today? That was a strange country code. It's also the country code for Nicaragua. So it's a code within the US and it's also a country code for Nicaragua. Oh, I think she's calling from Nicaragua because it had like the plus 505. Honey child, I don't know if we can help you. This is the Cayman Islands, last time I checked. But do call back if we can. All right, we're not going to beat a dead horse this morning, but Mr. George, please do better. You know better. Do better. I'm just saying. Carlos says if gravel gets trapped between the cloves of the cow's foot, it will cause, what is this? Lameness or lameness. Cattle were raised on over 1,500 acres before the Miagre Bay Pond, and they were never lame. Lameness. What is lameness, Carlos? We're going to get a lesson in cows here today. Lavada laughs and says, mess with Alexa. Just as the water can go down the drain, it can back up in some of those deep wells. Yes. Marshall says Alexa sent you on a wild ride. Jeffrey says Randyke is gonna get worse with this road and houses being done. Oh my gosh, those poor people in Randyke Garden. What? From day one, they've been underwater. Unbelievable. Let me just read some other comments here coming in the other lines. Oh, this was someone from Nicaragua calling. She sent a comment. She said, unbelievable. You erased your comment. Oh. Something about somebody should be doing better in their marriage to Nicaraguan. Okay then. Someone says, good morning, Sandy. Please note the gentleman that you guys are referring to about the cows is in the water is the head of the Agriculture Society. Apparently he was the past president. No, sir. Y'all have got to do better. Ay. Oh, that's his son. Oh, this is Gary Jr. Oh, not my friend Gary. Big G. Oh, you have a son named after you? Okay. Okay, do your thing, young man. All right. Live says that was my yard, Sand Road in the house. Yes, sir. Boy, let me tell you something, honey child. That was an experience to see those cows being slaughtered. I was like, Dreams and northward. Josen says, yet oxtail is the most expensive and sought after dish on the menu. Child, it didn't used to be that way. It used to be cheap. It used to be the poor man's beef, oxtail. Now it's for rich people because you can't afford to buy it. Julie has money. The premier. She might, but she's not giving it to y'all. Shaka Zulu says modern Caymanians lost the ability to be resilient people, much like our elders. Well, I'm gonna say, well, it certainly depends on what you mean by resilience, honey child, because there are things that our forefathers didn't have to deal with that now we have to deal with. I'm just saying. We're not going to beat a dead horse or a wet cow this morning, says Marshall. Jones says it's called laminitis. It's a foot disease. Oh, thank you, ma'am. Standing in water, they walk around in fecal matter during the dry season, and cow foot and oxtail still selling, says Josen. Ugh, y'all gonna make me have to give up beef now. Stop it. My Lord. Somebody sent this this thing with the goat on the rooftop. They're known for jumping on things, because, well, they're goats after all. So someone sent this little meme joke that was going around, and it says, hold on, go curry your mother. May not come down till after Christmas. Little does he know, we'll eat curry goat any time of the year, honey child, if you eat goat. I'm not really a goat person personally. I couldn't tell you the last time I had goat. I'm not like that fond of goat. But yes, there you go. Mutton and goat. Y'all are like, give me some curry goat, honey child. It's Meager Pond. Meager or Meager? Meager Pond? Why does the government or society have to provide everything? If you choose to raise animals and have been for years, take responsibility. Put in mounds. What are mounds? I'm telling y'all, I'm no farmer, so I don't know any of this stuff. And agriculture isn't flooded. If it was, why would it be a place where government department parks vehicles in the event of hurricanes? Okay, honey child. Someone says Hunter's proving himself to be socialist minded. Never and don't eat goat for the same reason. I saw goat being slaughtered when I was a child, and that done it for me. Yes. We need to go back and watch them kill another cow, says my cousin who was with me. No thanks. Are we expecting an announcement from the government? Yes, the DG said so. Because your girl is ready to go back home. Oh my God. Okay, we got a message about John Gray here, so we'll read that in a second. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, remember a caller couple, George, look, yeah. Somebody just sent me the weather map forecast, nothing but rain predicted. I haven't been on my little bicycle riding in a minute now. So let me go back to what Mr. Balika was saying. This is some good, advice. You've got to be careful. I had an elderly lady call me day before yesterday. I'm trying to see how best we can help her, but she called saying that she needed a little bit of advice about Fidelity? No, it was, Fidelity Bank. So she said she had a credit card with them, and she's like, I can never get this credit card paid off. I said, if you know what I know about credit cards, you would, let me see. You would never have one, or you'd be extremely cautious. They're the easiest things to use and to spend money. And then when it comes to paying them off, it'll never happen. So she says, listen, Sandy, I've been paying on this credit card for years, and I don't see the balance going anywhere. Now they put it in collection, and they've sent it to the lawyers. So now I have to find the $4,000 that I owe them on the card, plus The lawyers tell me another $500 to pay their fee. I said, oh, Lord. Basically, she needs $5,000 to get out of the situation. And I said to her, she took full responsibility. She said, I'm going to take responsibility for this because, I've been paying. I said, tell me something. What are you paying? Are you paying the minimum amount every month? She said she's paying $500 for something, and she don't see what it ever goes down. I said, that's because the interest rate on these cards is absolutely ridiculous. This is how they get you with credit cards. Now, I'm not going to say don't ever have a credit card, but I'm just saying you got to understand the financial risk that comes with credit card purchases. It is probably I don't know that there's anything higher in interest rate than a credit card. Think of it as a short-term loan, and that as soon as the bill comes due, you should be in a position where you're trying to pay it off in full. Because this is what happens. You pay $400 a month. The interest on it is $399. So only $1 is going towards the principal. I'm exaggerating, but I'm not at the same time. I think that y'all get my point. You never pay them off. You're forever paying. Now, when they send it to the lawyers, it gets a little bit tricky because the banks is like, okay, we don't want any more. Now, her problem, she's saying, is that the bank never told her that they were going to be sending it to the lawyer and that it was at that stage. Here she was thinking, okay, I'm making my monthly payments and I'm making some headway. As it turns out, there was no headway being made. And I don't know how she fell into that part of the little situation, but now they're making demands. And the difficulty is you can't go to another bank and say, hey, I need to borrow $5,000 to pay off credit card debt. In the US, debt consolidation is a thing. I'm not so sure that in Cayman it is. Does anybody here do debt consolidation loans? I think how they see it is if you're running in trouble with other debt, they're not in the business of taking on bad debt. So they don't want to do that because you're considered extremely high risk by the banks. What a mess. Just be careful, folks. 18%, 19% credit cards. What a mess. Jeffrey says now it's time to be mankind and help out with those cows. Whoever place can help. Well, like I said, I fancy that Mr. George, being past president of the Agriculture Society, must have more resources than you and I to get this problem solved. So maybe now the public pressure will come to bear that he will actually try to do something about it. It was obvious he wasn't caring that much. Cameron says, Sandy, your bicycle must be in a museum by now. No, man, it was... I was doing good. I was going every day. Then I fell off. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sandy.
Hello there.
Yeah, man, I come to pay the credit card thing, man.
Yes. Isn't that a mess? Have you ever had a credit card like you felt like you just could never pay?
Well, yeah, I was in that situation because you don't know how to use it. Because a credit card should be like a checkbook. You don't spend what you can't replace or you don't have,
Mm-hmm.
So if you spend, it's a business. It's like any business has to have a turnover. Yeah, because I used to use a credit card before and paying the basic minimum, and that wasn't covering it.
Yes.
Because they keep on extending it, and if you miss that or you do a late payment, that takes $45 just for that late payment. But after getting the gist of it, when I spend my credit card and I pay before the time, it works out perfectly. And guess what? If I'm going to order anything from Amazon or overseas, never use a debit card.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. Never use a debit card. Credit card, if somebody scams you on your credit card, who's liable?
Yes.
Who's going to lose? So if I use my debit card, they get they are into my details.
Yes, that's true.
Into my account. So I rather use the credit card and make them go into the credit card people account. Let them scam the bank. Make the bank pay for
more
it
protection with a credit card.
Better. So it's better protection, right? So, but it's all about how you use it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you abuse it, it's going to abuse you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So,
so
a lot of people don't feel like they could just use the money because they have a $5,000 credit card and they could just limit it out and don't pay it or that stays $300 on it, they ain't nothing. They pay that for life. So it's almost like a mortgage. So just learn how to use it, and it's very useful.
Thank you, darling.
All right, thank you, too.
So somebody says high interest rates and never get paid. The mortgage you will eventually pay. But what a hot mess. You got to be so careful with credit cards. But that caller makes a good point. Even when you do things like car rentals and stuff like that, you do get some additional protection. And in fact, there's a reason why a lot of these rental companies will say that they don't want you to use a debit card, that you need to have a credit card in order to even do business with them. So, there's some protections that are being offered by the credit card companies, which you don't get with debit cards. So I actually heard about this, but thank you so much to this caller for updating me on this situation. One of the jurors in this Brian Welcome case, this is the one where the gentleman is being accused of running over another man, a really horrific case, to be quite honest, when you think about the details of what happened. We can't say too much about it. It's just a horrific way to die. It is a jury case, but apparently this is just, I heard about this yesterday, but I didn't realize that they were on break. I thought they were still deliberating. But listen to how life is just so random and bizarre and just like absolutely unusual. A juror who is on that case died over the weekend. So apparently, I understand the juror fell downstairs or something, had some kind of accident, and died. Oh my God, how horrific. My goodness. So sorry to hear that. So they're on a break. This is why they tend to have alternate jurors and stuff, and they have one or two more than they might actually need, because sometimes things happen to jurors quite unexpectedly during the trial. But they're ready. I think they're ready out for deliberations. I understand when this incident happened over the weekend and the person died. What a hot mess. So we think the Mr. George situation will get addressed in more ways than one. The powers that be are going to talk to him about the use of this vehicle, because that ain't right. All right. So somebody has sent me this. Thank you so much to our listeners. They said, hey, Sam, can you please ask the public if they know about this? They have until tomorrow to object. This is crazy. This crazy lady is trying to have the name of Spots Newlands Road changed. It is a landmark, for Christ's sake. Please let everybody know. I didn't know about this, so this is very bizarre and interesting. I had no clue. And so this is what, let me show you guys what was sent to me this morning. News to me, honey chill. We're changing the Spots Newlands Road? I did not know. Here we go. So this went out. Street name, change intention, public road. Proposed street name to the Kirkland-Nixon Road, Grand Cayman, Cayman Islands. Objections will be received for 1 month from the date stated above. And the date was May the, is that the 16th? I can't quite make it out. Hold on. Yeah, May the 16th, 2024. So where did they put up this notice? And who can object? Can anybody object? Objections will be received for 1 month from the date stated above and may be sent to Minister for Roads for review. Send objections to. Now tell me something. Why on earth are they still doing objections to a P.O. box? Why can't you object and send it to an email address or some form of electronic objection? To me, this shows you how antiquated the minister, not the minister himself, but the ministry responsible for this. Why are we still using snail mail to send any objections? I don't even go to the post office, for God's sake. Seriously? Lord have mercy. All right, how do y'all feel about this? Let's do rapid fire. 936-2626. Who is objecting to the road being changed from Spots Newlands Road to the Kirkland Nixon Road? I didn't even know this was a thing. Look at that. What a hot mess. First I'm hearing about it is this morning. Any thoughts? 936-2626. I think certain roads y'all should just leave alone. This is going to be my opinion here. I would say name minor roads after people, and the major roads, I don't know, unless you're some national hero, maybe we shouldn't be naming our roads after every single person. Now, obviously, Kirkland Nixon was pivotal in our community. That was the weather guy, right? Don't we already have something named after him, though? Isn't it the Kirkland Nixon weather radar or something, or weather center that never works? And then I need to know two things. Why on earth did we not know anything about this? This again is like, what kind of wide or not wide public consultation went on here? No, sir. So why can't we object via email is my first question, because there's a lot of people who are not going to go to the post office and drop something in the post in order to be able to object. But I think minor roads should be where you name people, not these major thorough roads. So somebody says, I like your minor major. Oh, it's the Kearney Gomez. I'm confusing them. What a mess. Kearney Gomez Doppler radar. Kirkland was the chief fire officer for many years. Oh, yes. Okay, I'm mixing them up, honey chill. Yes. Okay, so it's Kearney Gomez versus Kirkland Nixon. I had them all confused. I agree with minor roads being the only ones changed. Mr. Nixon was chief fire officer, and his wife is a BRCA. Enough said. Touche, touche. Point taken, point taken. We know them Brocks. Now y'all can get everything named after Kim and Brockers now, honey chill. That's going to guarantee somebody gets reelected. What a mess. Y'all quiet on this one. Y'all thinking about it. Yes. Okay, I'm going to post this one up. Ay. Y'all don't have any opinions on this? What? Okay, well, y'all look like you're kind of deep in thought. Nobody's calling. Y'all are shy. You're like, oh my gosh, we don't want them Brockers to get upset with us. What do you think? Okay. We're going to publish it on social media. Maybe I might give some comment there. This person says, this is retarded. I want Spots Newlands Road to stay. This is absolutely stupid. I just got the notice the other day. Where can we object? Well, apparently you can only object by email. I mean, my apologies, by post. I renamed Cayman Brack after him, says this person. Oh my God, you did not just say that. Y'all know you're going to be renaming Cayman Brack. Julie Brack. Auntie Julie Country. Yeah, thank you, Straka Zulu. I was confusing two different people. Siobhan says they need to stop naming roads and stuff after people all the time. Cameron, nothing to think about, child. That's what Google Maps is for. The elders don't have that rich uncle to fall back on with any expectations of assistance. In other words, the trend now seems to be to treat the CI government as that rich uncle. They expect help or bail them. They expect to help or bail them out. We're still waiting on Luigi. I think he's supposed to be back in court yesterday. That boy keeps putting off the inevitable. I don't know why. Oh, but speaking of court, there was a couple of interesting developments yesterday. I'll tell you all a few cases that I was like, that sounds interesting. Very interesting. All right. Cayman is so backwards sometimes. Misplaced priorities, says this person. Ingrid says enough changing up the roads and making them look like a go-kart track only to increase accidents, and now want to change the names. Gabby says what he did for Cayman for a road to be named after him. I mean, at some point, the question does become, okay, say he was the chief fire officer for 20 years or whatever. Is that enough? You know how many people in the future are going to be long-serving civil servants for donkey years? Like, at what point do you go, that's not really enough for you to get an award or for things to be named after you? Or, we got to kind of raise the bar, I think, in some of these things as well. Like, think about the MPs that all of them are going to want something named after them so they can live on in infamy. This person says, well, they are changing school names that have been around for years. Guess we've moved to roads, started the Seafarers Way. Foolishness. Well, I mean, they've always named roads. No, it didn't start with Seafarers Way. There's the Linford Pearson Highway, Esterly Tibbetts, right? But again, I mean, Mr. Linford was in politics for a good while. There are people who are now superseded how long he was in politics for. Does that mean that we're going to have a McKeeva Bush Thoroughway soon? Lord, that's where you gotta be grabbed by the pums. You gotta be careful driving that one. You might want to lock the car doors when you're in that super highway. Okay, let me see here now. Another bad contractor. Oh, Lord. Oh. Oh. Oh, really? You just ask them if they want to be on Mar Road, honey child. You just tell them we will expose all you bad contractors. Talking about the woman walls leaking. And oh, you've been in your house for 2 years, so your warranty's up. Leaking walls? That's something that just happens just so. Poor construction. This person says, my mom has been a civil servant for 27 years and she not got jack. You know what? So, yeah, everybody wants something named after them. This is the point. Where do you stop? What's the bar? Like, what's going on here? Somebody says, kiss my neck or suck my neck highway for Mr. Bush. You're right. Criteria needs to be put in place. I mean, to change long-standing road names to another. Absolutely. Rename Kim and Brack after him. It will always be called Spots Newlands. No one is going to call it Kirk whatever. Was he not paid to be a chief fire officer? Whatever. This person's not feeling it. Another person says, everyone is waiting on government to say go home. Oh, my gosh. You see, I don't need anything named after me because we already got the Mall Road. Y'all always talk about the Mall Road, even when you're not talking about us, as in the Mall Road. There is the Mall Road. That's why we picked a name that made sense for the community and will live on and has always been there. The Mall Road has existed long before CMR. I'm just saying. Cameron says, live on in infamy. Try behave, child. I know. The McKeeva Bush suck your neck highway. Make sure you hold your neck as you're driving. You gotta drive with your knees. Use the steering wheel so that he don't come sucking on your neck and, oh, but then he might suck on your hand. What are you gonna do then? Oh my gosh. Shaka Zulu says he started with a few scrappy local volunteers fighting fires and developed what we see today as the modern fire department that is rated by the U.S. Emergency Services. Hunter says Walton Drive, Cayman Brat. Does it exist already? You have a Walton Drive already, or are you making a suggestion? Inspiring says McKeeva Bush Highway. Bushy Highway. Mm-mm. Can someone please tell me why they named Bobby Thompson Way of what? Well, obviously Bobby Thompson was somebody. And the thing is, we don't even know who the heck these people are. I mean, obviously Bobby Thompson was a Thompson named Bobby. What else did he do? I think he owned all the land in that area, and he probably gave government some of the land to build the road. Because even the guys who built the pickleball court right there, I understand that that's Bobby Thompson's grandson, and that land was still like in the family and whatever. So I bet you he gave up some land to government. I don't know. Cameron says, don't nobody. That's a double negative, sir. Don't nobody want to end up on Mall Road. They know better than that. Oh, these contractors? I'm telling y'all, they better get their stuff together, because if y'all see the leaks in people's homes because of this little bit of rain coming through the walls later, and then I message people talking foolishness today about, oh, your house is 2 years old and it's out of warranty. Surely your walls have a longer warranty than 2 years. Don't get me started on these contractors yet today. Because if this man want me to call him, and I see your number, don't have me call you, son. You better sort it out. I'm telling you, we're not finished with Philip yet, because he's still going on with his shenanigans. Mm-hmm. Outside of warranty. Uh-huh. You must be crazy. No, I'm telling you, I'm not getting none of y'all to build me a house. I'm going to have to live in a hut. If anything ever happens to this one, I'm not business, because these contractors are ridiculous. And let me assure you, some of y'all think that, oh, I can get a contractor who has a reputation for building multi-million-dollar homes, and I'm going to be in a better situation. Good luck with that theory. That ain't happening either. These guys are a bunch of jokers. It doesn't matter how much you're paying for your home and the quality of what you're paying for. I can assure you that they're special. All right, look, what time it is, 10:17. I don't think that this man want me call him this morning, because you know what that means? That means I'm going to go into overtime, and I'm going to have to blaze this man up on the radio here today. These poor single mothers suffering because of poor construction. You got to go to the bank, mortgage all future children away, and all kind of stuff. And then they got to talk about a 2-year-old house that has water coming through the walls is out of the warranty period. Is this guy joking? He must be on crack. I mean, really? Watch me and him here this morning. Honey child, don't make that man stress you out. Uh-huh. We're just moving to C resolution. So-and-so is dealing with a close death. Well, yes, and meanwhile, this single mother has water coming through her home that you built. Sort yourself out, because I definitely will feature you on CMR. When you build homes, the idea is they're built with concrete, and what you put between the concrete, mudding or whatever. I shouldn't see water coming through concrete even after 2 years. As a matter of fact, not after 25 years. Sort yourself out, sir. I'm serious now. CJ White says, talk about naming roads for people. Please name a street called Meals on Wheels. They're making a difference in people's lives. You see what I'm telling you? Where does it end, CJ White? I want a street named after Zeus too, and Coco. Can I get a Coco Lane? I mean, every street can have some name that you, in 5 years, you don't even know what it's about. Now, I'm not saying that Meals on Wheels is not a great organization. Wonderful. But there's a lot of great NPOs. So you're going to start naming after people, after NPOs, after the dog, after the hamster, Scott. Woo, Scott, this is a comment of the day. Let's give Scott a kaboom.
Kaboom!
Scott says McKeever already has his street in West Bay. It's called Hell Road. Oh my gosh. Strong Wilt says Alden, straight hair highways. Godfrey Nixon was owned by Godfrey on one side and the Nixon on the other. Okay, there you go. Hunter says that's where all the Waltons come from in Cayman Brack, Spot Bay, Walton Drive. All right. And you know, if it's like a little side street, like I said, like all the homes in that area, to me, that makes sense. You can name it Walton Drive, whatever, but y'all need to slow down now. Peter Smalden, good morning, says the name change notice is actually attached to Nightingale Street, a road that he did not ever live on. So far, we have hand-delivered 17 letters of objection to the street. Okay, thank you, Mr. Peter, because I'll correct my post, because actually here, am I misreading this? Where does it say in this notice what name, what street it actually is now? Like, don't you think the official notice would have said this road instead of proposed street name? Yes, proposed street name from this to this. So where does it tell you what the original street name is? I'm glad you've clarified that it's not Spots Newlands. It's actually Nightingale Street. So why did they, somebody says it's attached to Meadow Walk as well. So why did they select Nightingale Street if he has no connection to Nightingale Street? That's a little bit weird. He never lived there. Did he put out a fire on Nightingale Street that saved people's lives? Like, help me understand. Natasha, good morning. Natasha says brand new homes should not be leaking. Natasha, old homes shouldn't be leaking either. Not through the walls. Like, what the heck? No, sir. Single mom of 4 needs help with food and rent, please. Says Marlon. Single dad, sorry. You little brat. Somebody to behave. Miss Sue says lots of these buildings are leaking bad now and big strata. Short work, bad material and labor. Whatever happened to those apartments with the rebar removed and occupancy? As far as I know, still sitting there condemned. Planning refuses to take any responsibility, saying it's not them. I've had some people say, hold on a second, honey chair. So government just issued their notice. That just went up from when Mr. What's his name called us from 2 hours ago? Are y'all kidding me? Y'all stressing me out this morning. You're gonna force me to go shopping on Amazon with money I do not have. What is this thing called? Cayman. Really? It took them that long to put up a post? Lord Jesus. 4 minutes ago? I mean, I know we all have different definitions of shortly, but when you said shortly, I was like, okay, 10 minutes. We spoke to him at 8:40. It's now 10:23. And they've just put up the notice. Well. Okay, then. Yes, sir. This is where it's at. Let me tell you what the alert says. Let me just send this to Renee as well, so she can post this on the website. Okay, here we go, honey chill. Deteriorating again. All righty. Marlon cracking me up this morning. All right, important safety announcement regarding the ongoing weather conditions. Expecting another 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain throughout the day with clouds moving north-northwest towards Cuba. Please remain vigilant on the ground as the ground, remains saturated from previous weather, increasing the risk of flooding and other hazards. Okay. Call NEOC if you need them, 6555, emergency services, obviously 911. All right, we'll continue to watch this and start to strongly think about those hurricane preparedness kits as well. Okay. All right. Let me just see here. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. All righty. Let me see. What about putting numbers instead of names, like street number 1, etc.? Child, you and confuse them now. Like Calle Ocho, like 157th Street. You see, this would have required inspiring a unified street system that made sense, because apparently I'm no expert when it comes to streets. Let me say this. I go to Miami, but I didn't grow up in Miami. I don't really understand the road grid in Miami, but supposedly the road grid there makes logical sense. And you guys know how the roads run. I don't know it, and I've never really learned it, because whenever I go to Miami, I take my GPS with me, stick that up in the car, boom, 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 where do I need to go? But apparently the grids run in a very logical order. So like the streets northwest run northwest direction. So like if you know somebody tells you 131st Street or 36th Avenue or whatever, you have an idea of exactly where that is depending on where you are. And so street numbers make sense, but I think you would have had to plan, or not street numbers. You would have had to plan it out in the early stages. Now trying to integrate it with names at this point probably doesn't make any sense. Like, it's a little bit too late. If we had a road grid system, mind you, we don't have as many roads, but that might have made more sense. It's already a little bit too late for that. I mean, you can name it whatever you want, but it's not going to be really like a gridding system like how they do in Miami and stuff like that. That was too logical, apparently, when we started naming names. We just had ad hoc naming names. And remember, it wasn't that long ago, it happened since I've come back, that they really undertook this exercise of giving all street names a name. Before in Cayman, remember when y'all used to call? I've done it before when I first came back. Call looking for somebody's number. And this is when you had the Caymanian agents at 411, and they would answer the phone. Oh yeah, well, you know, that's Miss So-and-so, but you don't know who she lived next door to, what? Yeah, she lived next door to Miss Amalou, and that Miss Amalou's sister-in-law, and Miss Amalou's sister-in-law is from Mr. Mikey from West Bay North, and his grandma was so-and-so, and she used to cook the best stew kunk in all of West Bay, you know? You don't know where they live or what? You just go down this road right here, Northwest Point Road, and then you got past 2 more little streets. They're not got no street names, so don't worry about them. And then you got to turn right there, and that her house, that big yellow house with the picket fence, that where she lived, honey child. Don't you know this already? What? And you're like, I remember when I moved back, I was like, what? Miss who? And what? I don't know these people. I'm just looking for a phone number. Well, I got to give you her phone number, and I got to tell you exactly where she lived, and I tell you who her mama is, and who her grandpappy is, and who she from. And then y'all be like, listen here now. You be careful going down there, you know, because her papa used to like look at them little girls. Honey child, you better watch yourself. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Sandra.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I am the wife for 50 odd years of Mr. Kirkland Nixon.
Yes. Good morning.
I feel so distraught that a man that made such a contribution to this country, they have his name on your show like he was some yard boy. Who knows the man? No, he got paid like every other civil servant. But unlike a lot of people, he got paid for work that he did, not just being the chief fire officer. I was with him from the beginning when he got started, that Mr. Dennis Foster saw the potential in Mr. Nixon. And he pushed for him to have that job because you had 2 other Caymanians who was there longer than him. And he said, I see your husband having the most potential. Of course, a Cayman Braca has that kind of eyesight. And remember, the Brackers, like myself, they were the ones that ran this town until now. the biggest businesses in town is still for the Brackers.
Let
Okay,
me ask you a
it.
question, because I don't want to make this about Brackers versus people from Grand Cayman.
But
But
that's what it seemed like. And
No.
it seems like Kirkland Nixon, who was some trashy person. I don't want his name because these things can belabel us.
Let me be very clear. I don't think anyone is meaning to disregard his contributions in any way. People are just saying, generally speaking, this practice of naming roads after people, number one, should have a set criteria in place of how it's going to be done, why it's being done. But can I get some clarification from you on actually which road? Because we got some conflicting information here. Which road is it?
I think that we were the biggest property owners beside the Wattlers, Mr. Charlie Wattler's family, in this road.
But which road is it that they're looking to rename after him?
I heard about it.
Oh, so you don't actually know?
I hope nobody thinking it's this crazy woman, because I think, as far as I heard on the street, it was coming from one of the ministers for this area that proposed that it be named to him.
Ministers.
Before that, I
who's
do
the
know.
minister in that area?
I guess
I don't know.
We're on the side going to Prospect, so you know the ministers for there. I'm not going to call names because this name calling can be very libelous. Okay.
Well, I mean, name calling isn't
no. They
necessarily
have my
libelous,
husband on your talk like he was some trash, and I am going to defend it.
Yeah,
Let me finish saying, because I don't want to lose my frame of mind.
Yeah.
Because everything that I have to say is truth. And it makes sense. I forgot something I was saying there. I am 74 years old.
Yeah.
So the memory, he not only worked in this town, but so did I. I did a lot of work that I did mine quietly. Unfortunately, his went on radios and his was headlines. Mine was never. I helped 7 children in this Cayman Islands to become good citizens of this country. That's the kind of work that some of these people on your talk should have been doing, because I had no more than they have, than they has when I started to help them. Thank God they all have professional jobs. One of them is a fireman, and I'm not ashamed to say this on the radio talk because it's truth, and he doesn't care either. He's probably one of the strongest, hardest working firemen, because I took him up to the fire station and I said to my husband, he needs a job. He's going to be in a prison shortly. That's what the police told me. And today he's one of the most able firemen.
Sorry, who was that? I missed the name.
Mr. Dean Morales. He was the first person in my house bringing cases of drinks and everything when my husband passed. I rate him very high. But he put him in his office and he cursed at him. And I'm going to give you a chance in life. And if you do not accept it, you're going to end up into the prison. And the police has come to me and told me since that we saved him. Okay, we worked together on projects, but unlike him, I was never in the press. And I must say this for you to know some of it. I had a Christmas party, and I will say for Caymanian children, and some of the poorest ones was the ones I was looking for. And I never made it go to the press. It was never news, because he even said to me one time, you know, you would get help with these parties if you would publicize what you are doing. I says, no, I am not going to embarrass those children out there. Children that is poor or anybody's in that situation should not be going to the, with their faces before a camera to make them be embarrassed. Okay, one of those children today is working at the floor office in a big position, and most of them have grown up to be good citizens. Of course, they know me more than I know them, because they were little when I did it for 21 years until I got a brain tumor and I had to have it operated on in Miami. And I could not go back to Miami to select the gifts because I didn't give them junk. Everybody who attended those Christmas parties knew I gave the best. And you know how I made the money for it? I was selling sodas and other drinks out by the dock when they would have the Pirates Week celebration stuff, whatever it was. And I would go out there and sell sodas to get money, go to Miami and have a party. Mr. Thomas Jefferson gave me the okay to bring in the stuff duty free, and I left every item there for them to check it at the airport to see that I did not bring in anything that was not for a Christmas party for children. Okay, enough said about that. I was only to tell you that I have worked side by side with my husband, and he don't deserve this rhetoric. This is why Caymanians do not excel. The same thing is going on about him today, will go on about each and every one of you all. I'm telling you, don't care how much good you do. This is a Caymanian trend. That's why they curse Jamaicans, they curse this one, and those people come here and they excel because they live together. Caymanians don't know how to live together. The very families don't live together, much less other people in the communities. But, okay, enough said about that. My husband and I work together. I worked day and night on the road when I sold insurance for 20 odd years as well. And so we used our brain and put the money to good use because we knew that down the road life was going to be hard for our children. So my children has grown up to be able to live from what we work for. They don't have to work for a house because we own 3-4 bedroom homes in Spot Newlands. Okay, just in here alone, we own 3-4 bedroom homes. We have other properties that my husband used to grow on as well. We sold stuff to all the supermarkets. I don't see nobody else in here growing stuff on their properties that they could sell to a supermarket. I sold to the Mango Tree Drive-In. We sold to, I don't remember the name of the restaurant. We all called it down Mr. Mackey's place where he worked, Mackey. Powell, that was close by the CNV. He has a place there. I don't remember the name. But we sold to different nice restaurants who depended on our tomatoes and whatnot. And that's a big plot of property that people are now eating off it for free. They steal more than anything else from it nowadays that he's gone. My husband also, we have a humongous backyard. And he grew orchids like none of the other people in the Cayman Islands know how to grow. In fact, when we did a research on it, he is the second biggest orchid person in the Caribbean. The other place in Jamaica is now sold. But
is there, can I just ask you a question? Isn't there something named after him already?
Nothing. And if it was, he deserved 10 or 12 things.
Oh.
But, okay. If you want to know something, our back porch, we have a huge patio, and that's where the government was usually
when you
run
mention
from.
the orchids, there's not something at Botanic Park that's named after him, but the orchids?
Well, because
yes,
him
but I
and
thought
me.
I saw something.
Well, that's about as a Botanic Park. That's not the government, That's a separate body.
But the government owns the Botanic Park.
Whatever. I thought that was like you said, the airport and all those places that we don't consider government then. Okay?
No, I mean, it's still government.
Whatever.
I mean, it might be under.
But thank God you had English people up there who saw. You had people, good people like Miss Karen Hunter and those people that saw how hard he worked. And they were the ones that said, we want this named after him. Okay? It just wasn't like the type ones that's on the show this morning.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay. I mean, the bigger question, Miss Melba, is this, and I think you have to appreciate this, right? I mean, obviously, this was your husband. I mean, no one is trying to take anything away from him or trying to make you feel any way. But there's a lot of people who'd be listening to you this morning and said, well, my husband has done tons of things for the community. He's done this, he's done that. So is that the criteria for renaming all of our streets in Cayman? And what happens when we run out of streets?
The place is too small. That's not possible.
Right.
But you're looking at somebody, in this area here. We have homes where the governors used to come for coffee on a weekend. The house next door, we had people like the governor's wife that was over there playing bridge and whatnot. And it was a popular neighborhood. And the type people that came in here was like you never saw no other yard. And you had all those orchid people coming here to check out his orchids. The man died and left over 3,000 orchids, which I'm trying to keep most of them. I still have the majority of them. And this is a historic little area where I am, because you can see any given person coming here to look for the orchids. And I'm not talking about Caymanians. Most of them are foreigners that's living here. Their families come here. They need something to look at. Most of the time when they go up to the bird sanctuary, that's in such a dilapidated state that they leave. But they come and they enjoy in my yard. They enjoy sodas, coffee, whatever, while they look at those orchids. This is what I'm trying to say. Apart from hair, I wouldn't even mention what he did out. And like I was saying before, when you had serious problems in this country, I've been seeing the people that's in charge of certain departments, when they had to fire some big people and whatnot, they were out on the back porch with Mr. Nixon and deciding what they're going to do about this problem or whatever. Our place was used for those things. So the man has a lot of merit. And I think he's deserved something. I would have think people like him would have been one in town. He should have had a statue. I understand some of the firemen was fighting to get something. And I want to make this absolutely clear. I am not the woman that pushed to have this road named after him. When the PPM was in before, Mr. Austin told me that he thinks that they were trying to name this road after my husband, but he told me they were thinking of Kirkland Nixon Boulevard. So it was going from then, but recently I understand that the now minister for the Prospect area, I think they might have proposed it. I can't be absolutely sure, but I want everyone to know that it's not me, because as much as I have done, that's what I'm trying to say. You don't see my name in no papers, no time about what I have done. And I challenge any other out there in a service club, anyone to do more than I have done until now. Okay? My job when I was working, they could tell you all day people was walking in for me for my assistance. To my house is the same thing. My doors has been open to everyone from the time I knew. Also my husband. I probably did more things like that. We both served on boards. He served on every instrumental board that there was, and he performed well. When we walk in and we enjoy a credit union, you have to think of him being a part of that. When you think of all this pension that they're now using, he was instrumental in having that put together. And it's so much stuff that he was involved with. The civil aviation and all the other government boards, the port authorities, is too much for me to name. We couldn't even keep track of it. Then you're going to have a man like that drag through a radio talk. It's disgusting that we have bigger issues in this country now. You know what? He died. His best friend, he used to have one of his best. He had 2 or 3 best, and one of the best ones, and I can call his name, who he spoke to last in the hospital after he got through thanking me for helping him so much. And when Mr. Don walked in the room, he had gone to sleep, but he called him and he said, "Kirk, old boy, how you doing?" And he said, pretty good, you know. That time the man is dying. He died a day after. Pretty good, you know. He said, "Donnie," because he was hallucinating. "Donnie, you know what I want you to do? You see the problem that we are getting?" He said, "I want you to build a long railway. Try and build a long railway." The man was dying and he had more sense than those that is up and going, running their mouths. Okay?
What was well, do you know what the a railway? What would that
The
have been
man
for?
was hallucinating, so he's thinking how to fix the problem we have on the roads.
Okay. I mean, you confused me there. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he was confused because he was dying.
Yeah, no, I got
So he
that
might
part, but
not
then you
said
said he
it
was
right.
making sense. I thought that there
Yeah,
was something logical about
Yeah,
the
he-
railway that I was missing.
He made sense, and Mr. Donna told him, "Don't worry, Kirk, we'll take place. We will we will take your place. Don't worry. We will do the things that you didn't get the chance to do. It was very touching. He died with Cayman on his mind. Everyone else is about how much buildings they can get with their names on it, and how many things they can do to get in the papers, and how much homes and how much cars and whatnot that they can acquire. He didn't. The man owned one car in all his life. He was never a show-off person. He was a humble person. They're not going to have many more sprouted out like him again. I lived with him, and I could tell you everything was so secretive about him with his job and whatever. Even guys that worked the fire station, if they had a child out there and he wasn't married, and once the mother came and said, I'm not getting any maintenance for this child. My husband called the fireman in and said, listen, you have this child, does that belong to you? Yes, sir. Okay. Well, I want you to do a standing order so we can support that child. The child must not just be dragged up. Your child must be raised up. That was him. He was a counselor in his job, but you're not going to get everybody liking you. And the same Cayman thing I was telling you about, they're jealous. They don't want to see another excel. Anyway, I don't get into it. I'm not calling back. I will have a lawyer
so
deal with
we
it.
still don't
You
have a
make them
whole lot
say-
of, I mean, some of the questions that we had, because people were saying it was Spots Newlands Road, then somebody else says, no, it's Nightingale. So you don't even know what road it is. You're not sure.
I know. Let me clarify this. For all those people that put there, I don't want to say their tongue where it shouldn't be. I wouldn't even disgrace myself to make such a statement. But they don't have no brain. They have fish brain. Now, down the bottom there is considered Spot Newlands Road. As you get off the highway, you turn left, and that house there is our house. And that is called, what's the name now that you just mentioned?
Nightingale?
Nightingale. We have property on Nightingale. I just told you we are the biggest property owners down in here. We're not talking about what he did out there. I think people is seeing him as being a successful person. And that house was really, I built it for my cash. He has one avocado tree in the yard, but I was his wife, so half would be his and half is mine. Now that he has died, I have put my daughter's name on that property. So it belongs to me and her. And all the other properties we have. The big farm, which is 2 big lots of property, that was one piece was mine and one was his. And what we're living on was between me and him. Next door that I'm renting was mine and his. And the list goes on. This is something I would never want because I'm very private. I didn't want to have to get on the radio with this, but I guess somebody had some sense and saw, well, that man was very successful in here and he made it a nice neighborhood too. You can't give to everybody. They have to realize not everybody can get. I mean, I've never wanted any, like I told you, I don't care about those things. When I walk into Hurley's or I go to Kirk's, I just want to know I have money in my wallet. The name doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care what name I get. I don't care what they give me, what they term me as. That doesn't matter, But anyway, it's been a very disgusting morning. I feel good to know that he couldn't have known about this. And he was not a politician like Mr. Linford. Mr. Linford was in that position where he could say, I would like this road named after me. Somebody else thought about it, which whoever it was that did it, I appreciate them, And let's hope that they can name other people that deserve it. But this road that I am living on comes down straight in Spot Newlands. That's what it is called. The other, Nightingale Road, is where we do have a house as well, and this is how it is. But I don't think that they just named it only because of the road. They perhaps see that, the man has done well in his time. How many yards in this area, this big area, that you see cars park up and people go in to look at like a site, do like a site visit here? Huh? There's no more. And above all, he knew about orchids. He just didn't buy them and they died like what is happening. He grew them. Okay, it was his thing. He had a passion for it, which I started him with.
Let me
I
ask you
bought
a
him the
question.
first one.
Somebody has a suggestion here, which I think might make more sense. Why not name the fire station after him? I think that would have been a more appropriate gesture.
Well, you could have named many things, like I said before.
I mean, we're not going to do many things. It's probably going to be one thing, but I'm just saying. Wouldn't the fire station make more sense?
I used to see his picture up at Credit Union. It's not there anymore. You know, somebody else's name will perhaps go up, but his picture and some other prominent Caymanians, I wouldn't call their name, but everybody should know. And their pictures were there. They're all deceased. But once you deceased, somebody else's name goes up. So wait your turn. You might know about it. You might be like my husband and you don't know anything about it, but you will get your turn if you made a contribution. I don't want any when I'm living or when I'm dead. Okay? And they might say, I don't warrant it. No, they think that it's like when they gave me, I got an award for, I guess, community work. It was for when the governor called me in, and I got a badge and certificate of honor. And I said to the same Kirkland, I said, my God, what people going to say when they hear this? You know how they are. He said, well, Melba, if you don't deserve it, no other I see getting it out there do. Because when you would even take your daughter's school fee for Tampa University and help another child that wasn't going to be able to graduate. And then I had to find the money again. He said, what more can you do? Okay? That's the life that we lived. It's so sad to know how people can put you down, especially when you don't have a voice. And I am not going to get on to this talk show again. I don't deal with people of that caliber. People like those people, I don't. They're all jealous people. I don't. But that's what a law is for. I will pay my lawyer to deal with it. So they better be careful with what they say.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much, Miss Melba.
And I hope that you find better subjects to talk about in the future, Sandra. I always say, well, boy, Sandra's doing a good job. I don't get to listen. I think I told you that one.
Yeah.
I'm too busy.
Well, we bring,
in the morning.
let me be very clear about this. Not everybody's going to like every subject, but somebody has sent it to us and they were querying it. So we bring whatever is on the people's minds. We bring to the table. And so someone sent this morning. I hadn't heard anything about it. But I don't control the narrative as much as I let the community control the narrative. And people are asking questions or they're bringing things to the forefront, then
I don't get to listen because I don't have the time.
That's how this program works. You probably listen to the other show where they're controlling the narrative. We don't do that.
No, ma'am, I do not. I don't listen to shows.
Oh, okay.
I was about to tell you that my itinerary is so big, I don't have the time for it. But I do. Sometimes I do hear. Somebody will call and tell me, well, this is what I had two people that will say, this is what was on today. If it's something of interest that they know I would be interested in. This one, somebody called and told me, they called and told me, you hear how they got your husband like a floor rag? I said, what? And for what? I just knew about this. Somebody had to tell me about it.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's actually what was happening. So maybe you could go back and listen to it for yourself.
I know where you got it from. I bet you the person, that first person that you discussed, that talked to you about it, that's why it's on. I know what is for vindictiveness. And I know where it's all coming from. But they wouldn't like me. They wouldn't like me to spill the beans, okay? That is what you call real badness, when somebody could have been so good to you for so many years and gave you a life. And this is the end results of it, okay? And I figure out where this is coming from. And you cannot put down what somebody else has done that you had an opportunity of doing and you didn't do it. And I know you're smart enough. Anyway,
all
Sandra,
right, my
like
dear.
I tell you,
thank you very much.
Thank God it rained. I didn't have to water my orchids this morning.
Yes.
Because if not, I wouldn't have been on this show. You know?
Yes.
But we were both busy people. We were so involved. They didn't see me because I was in the background. But that's the way the man went. That's why he went up the ladder.
All right. Well, somebody said I need to interview you for Cayman Voices. So I might be in touch, my dear. That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Cayman Voices?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. I try to look after my family and myself. I have never went out there and try to do anything illegal or beg anyone. They can tell you, I don't
doesn't
beg,
sound
I
like you know
give.
what Cayman Voices is about based on your response. That's not what that's about.
Well,
I'm
I
just
don't
saying.
know. And my interests really right now, I've did my share of community work. They still come, but not as much as before. And at this age, you don't expect me to be doing that much. But I take care of my household, which is my duty. And like the leader is now gone. So I had to replace him as well. And I replaced it without, I must tell you, I live here and nobody offered. Well, I wonder if those people have food to eat today. I wonder how they're getting along. And I'm going to tell you, I have 2 or 3, but one particular one that it would not be fair for me to call his name that checks in. I have a 14-year-old grandson, but he was only 8 years old when his mother died after my husband. And that man, I'll tell you his name, he even buy clothes and bring, and that's Mr. Charlie Watler, who was one of my husband's big friends, and I could say now, especially he died, best friends, because he turns up. You know, Mr. Donner was another good one, and he's gone. But that one person I rate, apart from that, I've been here through thick and thin, and nobody calls and say, well, can I do this for you? Can I help you? Or how do you live? Everybody thinks I have, and they come and they'll ask for help. So, and I want to keep it that way, you know? I can't get involved with what's happening out there. We did what we could do before. Leave it up to others now.
All right, my
Anyway,
dear.
enough
Thank you.
said, Sandra.
Yes, thank you
And
so
you
much.
enjoy the rest of your
You
day. And I
too.
won't be in the show.
Yes.
I'm going to be off of it.
And try to
Okay?
stay dry. Thank you, Miss Melba.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you
love.
too.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay. I don't think she knows what Cayman Voices is, because none of that made any sense in terms of what Cayman Voices is. All right. I don't think you guys were saying anything bad about Mr. Kerner for sure. Hello, good morning. Hi, I'm not bad. How are you? Good. Yes. You wanted to reschedule? No. Well, it's going to depend on the weather. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have an issue coming later, but government has just sent out another weather alert and they're saying to stay off the roads. So if they tell me to stay off the roads, I won't be coming to the appointment at all. So, yes, because that means more flooding and all sorts of madness on the roadway. Yeah. So let's play it a little bit by ear. You can tentatively put me down for 4:00. That's no problem. But yeah, if the weather deteriorates into the afternoon, I'll call you guys and tell you, no, I won't be coming. Yes, absolutely. Okay, wonderful. Uh-huh. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. All righty. Bye-bye. All righty. Cameron says, them beans been soaking for donkey years. Spill them out. Yes. Hunter says she respectfully told Miss Sandy and she don't care about her. Huh? I'm not so sure that you're putting it in the right context, Hunter, because it doesn't sound like she knows what Cayman Voices is, but that's fine. That's not a problem. We got a whole list of people we're trying to get to. Somebody in the comment section suggested it, so I just said it to her, and she didn't quite sound like she knew what it was. Miss Amelia says, blessings, Madam Melba. You are a real lady. She sounds a lot like Miss Julie, doesn't she? She sounds a lot like her. Like the way that she speaks. Accent and stuff like that. Not what she's saying necessarily, but all right. Marshall says, well, if you own a lot of different homes, you shouldn't be hungry. I'm just saying. What a hot mess. This sounds like them beans well hot, says Gabby. I mean, I don't know. She's assuming the person who sent it. Listen, the person who sent it did not say anything about her husband. They were just like, do we really have to rename another road And I think the suggestion of renaming the fire building there by the airport after him actually makes more sense because he was, well, how many years did he say he served for? Almost 30 years. Like that is what he is known for. Our first fire service head. I mean, I don't know. But to me, that makes more sense. Now, she has clarified something, so I do appreciate the call. And she said that Nightingale, that area, they're the biggest landowners. But you know, it kind of got me to thinking when she was talking about, again, what is the criteria? Because I know a lot of Caymanians sitting there go thinking, oh God, here we go again. The biggest landowner, we had the most homes, we had the most this, is that the criteria? Listen, I don't really care what the criteria is. I think y'all just need to tell us. If it's for people who could host the kings and queens coming to visit because they were in that elite category of Caymanians, then by all means, give us this, like, tell us that that's what the criteria is. Now that we understand that it's probably, oh, Jesus, peace, my poor glasses. Oh, Lord, don't break my glasses now. Oh, I was thinking, it's been a couple years since I had my eyesight checked and stuff. And got new glasses. I think the next trip I go to Miami, I'm going to make an appointment and go and make them do some fancy tests for me and make sure everything, and then I can look at some frames while I'm at it. But in the meantime, honey child, what Aunt Lauder used to say, waste not, want not. So don't be trying to break your glasses thinking that can give you an excuse. So yes, I mean, I think people just want to know what the criteria is and why that area. Now she's explained why that area, because that's where they live. Fine. I mean, like I said, I don't know anything about him really. So that's at least an explanation. In that area, a lot of the streets are named after birds and stuff because it's, I guess it was known as a bird area because you have like Nightingale, you have, what are some of the other streets in that area? Anyway, there you go. Landowners. That's the criteria. And without a doubt, he has made, as she said, but I knew I saw his name somewhere before, and it's at the, because he was into Orchid. I think he was known for that. And she confirmed that, yes, he has something named at Botanic Park, because I've seen it there with his name on it as well. I don't know. Name the fire station after him. All right. Shaka Zula says that was not an accurate description, Miss Nixon. They misled you with that statement. Well, this happens all the time, Jamila says, spill the tea, Miss Melba. We were here for it. We were hoping she would have given us some real sauce. But let me say this. This happens all the time. People will hear something on Ma Road. They probably only heard his name being mentioned. And that we are like asking what the people are asking, which is what's the criteria. They go on and call poor Miss Melba now at her age, getting her all up in her feelings today and getting poor Miss Melba all upset. Y'all leave Miss Melba alone. Deborah says that he was also very instrumental in the tourist attraction board. So name Pedro after him? Is that the suggestion? Rename it from Pedro Castle to Mr. Kirkland Nixon Castle. How did Pedro get named again? I don't know. Lots of questions and simply not enough answers. Yeah, there is a bird sanctuary in there, but there's a lot of streets with that name as well. Why do they want to change the name? Miss Brenda, just because they can. This is the question that we're asking. Yes, there's Raven, Kingfisher. Is Kingfisher a bird? I'm not sure. But this is all we were saying is what is the criteria for renaming streets that already have a name? Like I got it when they first undertook the exercise 30 years ago of naming all the streets in Cayman. Some streets indeed were named that way because they're like, okay, Miss Maldine lived down this road. Let's call it Miss Maldine Lean or whatever, right? Or this is the Macfields. This is kind of their headquarters where they always lived. So we're going to call this Macfield Street, Macfield Lane or whatever. Made total sense. Absolutely. Now that names have been fixed and they've been named, they're on Google Maps, and we know what the names are, I think to change a name should require more. During the initial naming process, which most of these MPs wouldn't have been around then, what is the criteria? Why is it being done? Miss Brenda says, yes, her and Miss Julie both in the back. Yes. Hunter says the best show ever. Hardly, Hunter. Oh my goodness. All right. I don't know what to say. All I'm saying is people are asking names. There's also a bird sanctuary in East End, says you little brat. Deborah says, nope, Pedro name is fine. They can't just leave things alone, my goodness. Name the fire station and one of the fire station boats or trucks after him, says Leroy. Did you mention that they changed the name of the town hall to Constitution Hall? An iconic historical building, name changed for what? No, I didn't mention that. And again, why was that name changed? Why would you change it from Town Hall to Constitution Hall? Is it where the Constitution was like signed? Or, I mean, sometimes it don't even make no sense. I don't understand. If there is a method to this madness, then I'm thinking we should just explain it. Oh, Lord. Just FYI, officials in Jamaica have issued, the health minister there, Kim Wilson, is appealing to Bermudians to continue taking precautions against COVID-19 after health authorities recorded 6 deaths so far this year. She said the virus has not gone away and will probably always have cases in our community. I urge everyone to continue taking precautions to avoid catching and spreading COVID-19. So that's the Bermudian government urging their people to remain vigilant, and they've already had 6 deaths for the year. Wow. This person says, sorry to say, this lady has me a little bit lost. Lord have mercy. What is the issue? There's a lot that do a lot in our community, a lot of community work and donate, and so want to be recognized and don't want to be recognized. She needs to come off the show now. Government has just issued an alert. Okay. Yes, I saw that. What century are we living in, please? Oh my God. Somebody says she doesn't know what Cayman Voices is. Goodbye. Obviously, I'm not doing a good enough job. If y'all don't know what it is, honey child, I'm going to have to own it. More hot mess. Anywho, I was having a moment there with, speaking of Cayman Voices, I was having a moment there with one of my Cayman accents about when you used to call 411, and then y'all got me all kind of confused. Dawn says easily shows how CMR is misrepresented. Miss Dawn, all the time. I've had people call the show where somebody was telling me you were saying this about me, and I was like, are you sure? And I don't remember every minute detail because, hello, talking for 3 hours, you're bound to forget stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure that that's not what happened. And that's not what was in my head. And that's not what was going on. The other day, somebody from the Athletic Association said that I called them something or another. And I looked at her. I was in KFC picking up some food for some workers. We had some guys on a Saturday doing some work. So I was like, oh, I'm going to bring you guys some food. And I went in there and ordered a big bucket of chicken and whatever. And she's like, oh, hello. And I'm like, hi. You know who I am? I'm like, nope. Am I supposed to know who you are? Who are you? I don't know. And then she tells me she's from the athletic. Well, first she gave me the acronym, the initials. And I was like, CIAA. That's airport? Like, I still didn't know who she was. And then she's like, oh, Athletic Association. I said, oh, that's CIAA. Okay. And yes, you guys were saying stuff about me. And I said, what was said? And she remembered verbatim what was said, except I didn't say that. The minute she said it, I'm like, lady, there's certain things that I will say. And you guys know when we go in church, and there's certain things, but there's certain things that I don't say that would be very out of character for me to use, like certain words and stuff. And when she said it to me, I can't remember exactly what she said now. I was like, I'm pretty sure I did not say that. That's not how I would, if I was going to say that you were, less than intellectual, stupid, whatever, there's certain ways I would say it. But the way that she said it, I was like, no, I wouldn't have said that. I said what it probably was is that I was reading one of the comments from somebody else who said that. She's like, oh, well, So people get up in their feelings all the time about stuff on this show that actually never even happened. But child, y'all know my philosophy. They'll be just fine. Life goes on. And it is what it is. She says she doesn't listen. The good part is you don't have to listen. And what y'all need to do is stop confusing people. Like, stop. If the woman don't even listen to the show, why y'all calling her for? Leave the woman alone. Let her live in bliss with the plants and the rain and the orchids and Mother Nature, and just leave the poor little old lady alone. That's all I'm saying. All right, we're out of time. Hunter wants to talk about Port Zeus. What about it? What's going on? I thought he had axed that project. Is that still going on? I thought that was a done deal, actually. I don't know. Well, what about it? You have to send me some information because I'm not sure what's going on in Cayman Brac. Dale La Solomon says, let's rename Elgin Avenue, where the government building is, to Giveaway Cayman. Giveaway KY Avenue. Oh, God. I'm waiting to see what they're going to name after Alden because, he have to get something named after him. Although he got knighthood. So he might be okay with just knighthood. Miss Julie, that new school in the Brac. I'm telling you, listen here, y'all need to start listening to me. Y'all listen to Auntie because she sees certain things coming crystal clear. That $1 million school is going to be renamed after her. Mark my word. That's what this is all about. Auntie Julie Hall or something. She named the whole school after her. Oh my gosh. This person said, morning, Sandy. Yes, to the best of my Brac knowledge, Miss Alba is Juliana's aunt. Oh, they're family. Maybe that's why they sound a little bit alike too then. Okay. Interesting. All right. And, he was from the Brac. So I also wonder if there's not something on the Brac that they could name after him, which would be quite appropriate as well. All right. So let's change 7 Mile Beach to 5 Mile Beach, says Damien. I'm done with y'all. Y'all are just too much. I can't even. No more. Y'all, I can't. Yeah, y'all are just too bad. I'm giving up on this class session today because I refuse to beat you all. And the rain has obviously gotten to all of us. So listen, weather alert is out. I'm going to simply, Miss Brenda says, how about Giveaway Beach or no longer the beach? Eroded beach. Oh my God. All right. So listen now. We'll post up this alert here in just a minute. It's very, very simple. The road, the rain isn't done with us. And so let's just be cautious. Take your time. Don't go out in it if you don't have to. Reduce your driving to a minimal because we're going to continue to get inundated with rain. Somebody said, let's change it to Watermess Street. Not our beach, says Damien. Oh my gosh. So take your time out there. You know that bad accident that was on the waterfront the other day? Oh, honey child. I heard there's a real good story behind it. And I'm trying to see if I can get an exclusive interview because you guys are not going to believe it when I tell you what I've heard. It's a whole story and then some. That level of sus. All right, please be safe on the roadway. Be good to one another. Despite what people think, most people are not really bad-minded. Yeah, as Caymanians, we like a little sauce here and there, but we're not generally bad-minded people. That's not us. No. Caymanians are some of the most generous, warm-hearted. Speaking of generosity, hold on here now. Siobhan said, I'm just here for the sauce. Forget y'all. Speaking of that, I forgot to tell y'all, when I was at the yesterday getting my vaccines done, the lady who won the $100 the other day, she works there at HSA. And she said to me, hey, Sandy, I won. I said, you did? And she said, but guess what? I don't need the money. I want you to give it to the young men who are trying to go away for the basketball school. So I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So I need to call Dean and tell him you got another $100 donation. I'm going to send that across on behalf of this wonderful, worker at HSA. So thank you very, very much. All right. So take your time out there. The crabs are out. The frogs are out. The hickatees roaming around the place. Just slow down. Slow it down. Take your time. That was my appointment. I was supposed to be 11:30. They called to say, can you come 4 o'clock? And I said, well, it's going to depend on the rain, honey child, because I may not come at all. I'm one of them people. When it rains, I'm like, oh, I got so much work to do in front of the computer today. I'll find, there's a whole folder over there of QuickBooks entries that I was supposed to be doing from January. Oh, no, they're not done yet. Tapeworms are out. What the hell? Tapeworms? Oh, geez, and peace. Just be careful. Be careful out on these streets. It's dangerous out there. Everything can get you. All right, that's all she wrote. Catherine, good morning. You missed the show today. Go back and hit the rewind button. Would have loved out in my comments about changing the road that my mother named so many years ago, and now Miss Melba, who never lived on the street, wants to change it. What? This just went from lukewarm to what a hot mess and then some. You're saying she doesn't live there, but she says they're the biggest landowner. Honey child, I am not getting in the middle of this one because I tell you what, I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm living in the country. I don't know nothing about what y'all folks down in what it is, Spots Newlands doing. I can only tell y'all a little bit of what's going on in Lower Valley. Down in my neck of the neighborhood, ain't nothing going on. We're not fighting over no roads. We're not fighting over no crabs. We definitely not fighting over Chris Saunders. We trying to give us fruit cakes. We're not fighting over none of that, honey chill. Father's Day coming up this weekend. So that, oh my God, I don't know what to say. Catherine, you just throw a monkey wrench in that whole thing. She owns a house next door and rents it out. What? On that note, I think we better end this conversation before we get another phone call. Y'all be good. You hear me? Be good now. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. What a hot mess. Gabby says, seems like there's drama afoot. I don't want no part of the drama today. I'm out of here. Oh my God. You know, another one that is so hilarious. Hold on. Let me find this and I'm going to end this one on a good note. Somebody say hush, hush. Oh my God. Hold on. One more. One more of those. Hold on. Oh man. What is the little guy from Kurtman from what's that show called with the little bad kids? Oh man, what's the show called? South Park. Okay, I gotta no, hold on. I got a little thing from South Park. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. So you know that little kid? Cartman. Oh my God, look at me now, call him Kurtman. He has a saying that oh Lord, I don't know if I can find it, but he says it all the time. Oh, I don't know if I can find it. I'm gonna look for it. But he has a little saying that he's such a bad little kid. He has a little saying where he's like, I'm out of here, bitches. I'm out of here, bitches. That's little Kurtman. I'm going home. No, he says, screw you guys. I'm going home. Oh, I got the wrong one. Hear me talking about I'm out of here, bitches. Hold on. He says, screw you guys. I'm going home. I'm going to find it. Hold on. Screw you guys. I'm going home. Cartman, he always says this. Hold on. I'm going to get this and play this. This is going to be my, this is going to be my outro officially for today. Hold on now. Let's get little Cartman up in the house. I've renamed him K-Man version Kurtman. All right, here he is. Come on down, Sonny. Oh no, hold on. This is what he says. So this is gonna be how we gonna end the show today.
Guys, I'm going home. But Cartman, we're trying to screw you guys. Screw you guys. I'm going home. But Cartman, we're trying to screw you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth.
on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.